Oh my god, there is always something. And tonight there was like 3 or 4 things. But I think we got it all sorted out. I don't see anyone popping in yet though, so I don't quite know if that's actually the case. What's going on? Is stuff still broken? Is everything working? Live. Aha! Okay, it looks like things are working. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, there's always something. There is always something. And tonight there was like 3 or 4 things. I had to completely log out of Streamlabs and like relink everything. Shnola, you're first. Welcome. I believe you are 100% first. All right, let's make sure the YouTube. Yeah, okay, you're chatting to us on YouTube, so it's working. That is excellent. We've got Twitch up and running as well. 5 in the morning, haven't slept, but at least stream is live. Well, there you go, Zon. Silver linings. Silver linings. I need to give a big thank you to everybody because tonight, the stream on Twitch, I'm actually streaming for the first time tonight as a Twitch affiliate. So, huzzah for that. I'm quite happy. I was quite excited to see that happen and get that email, and yeah, that's pretty cool. So thank you everybody for helping make that happen. That's quite amazing. Should be in for some pretty interesting conversation tonight. We're going to be talking more about the changes that they're proposing. Stop the change. Indeed. There's stream elements letting me know that I am live. But also letting everybody know that Elyon and KingDead will be joining us tonight for interviews. So that should be cool. Do we have the... Oh, there we go. Now we got some game sound going on too. Looks like Arwen is finished her mock battle that we had her on. Hello, hello, Chica. How's it going? Welcome back to the stream. I don't know if you've heard, but there's been a pretty crazy change proposed. Apparently that the devs are planning on putting in place. And we've all been quite against it. I don't get it. Oh, nice. Okay. Erebor, Gondor, and Mordor all pushing elves. Nice. Oh, boy. I got a bunch of messages from Saxon Underhill. Oh, okay, cool. I'll get to that later, but yeah, okay, apparently my video for the Fearless Pioneer thing got me 50 bucks. So that's cool. And again, that's all due to like you guys, the 2,000 views that it got. Zon, I'm giving up on my main server with Mordor. All our faction leaders just drowned or Haven't seen them for a few days, and defending minus Morgul with 9 versus 40 armies is a waste of time. Ouch. Sorry to hear that, buddy. Alice A, how is it going? I think I need to change the color of the names in this multi-stream chat. Because they're like a dark blue right now against the black background, and that just doesn't work very well. I do notice we have one viewer joining us on Twitch. Hello, hello. Welcome to the stream. Enjoy those hobbit ears that you're collecting. That's what I decided to call my channel points. Thought, why not? So we jumped right into the gameplay here because I already had it up and running anyway, and everything with the login stuff was catching me all off guard. But we will do the normal Q&A to start things off type thing, just open Q&A before I like dive in and start doing stuff. If anyone has questions, feel free to throw them out there. If anyone's unclear about what the Stop the Change hashtag is all about, feel free to ask. I can clear that up. But hopefully, we're going to hear something back from the devs fairly soon on that. And hopefully everything will be good. Getting ready to fight Rohan, Alice. Ah, there you go. Definitely getting exciting. PvP is on the horizon, eh? Started playing with friends at Good Faction. They are new in game and answering all their questions. My brain melts. It's sometimes hard to explain things. Yeah, sometimes it is. I don't know. There are certain elements that aren't easy to explain. Someone there missed the class of Balance 101. Indeed, Chica. Yeah, that's exactly what Stop the Change is about, Alice. It's about this idea of mixing good and evil commanders and good and evil troops together come next season and moving forward. I'm personally not on board with that idea one bit. I think that's a terrible idea. But you know, if they think they've got some crazy smart thing going on, then, I don't know, we'll just have to prove them wrong. Doesn't look like they've said anything in response yet. Because the suggestions page, yeah, it's still blowing up. There's Lady B with the Stop the Change. When is the next chest event coming? I'm not actually positive when the next chest event is coming. Maybe next weekend? I don't know, actually. I don't really know. There may be information about that in the on the Discord in like the bartender service or something where you can like ask the mods. But they haven't publicly posted anything that I've seen talking about when the next chest is. Joseph, hey man, playing as Mordor and need help with counters for Gondor and dwarfs. Any tips? Yeah, so for Gondor and dwarves, crushers are going to be very handy because of the defense debuff that they provide. Snipers are going to be great to take out any ranged units you run into. And then you can run either like spearmen or wargs to deal with mounted units. You can also try running mountain trolls and reapers on certain commanders. They wouldn't do as well against some of their heavily armored commanders. But if you see that they've got some commanders running a bit squishier or a bit squishier units, then you can take advantage of it with those. And yes, Lady C, that was something I meant to talk about today, was that, like, I laughed my ass off this morning when I checked that suggestions page and popped my first stop the change thing in there. And all of a sudden I saw that it had gone from a half an hour slow mode to 2 hours. It's just like, okay, I guess they know we're here. You got your first 230 by yourself with just Aragorn 2, which was super excited. Awesome. Yeah, congrats. That is something. They're not easy. What do you think is the right comm level for a 300 plus? It depends, because, you know, I was able to take a 300 with under-leveled comms because they were Theoden and Eowyn, Galadriel, you know, so I was able to go at them with, I think, 30, yeah, they were all 39s. I didn't have a 40 in the pack. There was 39s, 38s, stuff like that. But I would say comfortably you'd want at least one commander in and around the 40 to 45 mark, and then probably one or two backups anywhere between 35 and 40. And at that point, you can probably feel comfortable. Or no, that's not for a 300. For 300s, you're looking at 45s to 50s. Yeah, I forgot you were asking about a 300 at first. I was thinking 200. 45 to 50s for a 300 plus. Are there more than 300s now? I thought 300 was the highest that we had. Yeah, okay, 300 is the highest we have so far. Maybe they'll add higher level ones, but... And I was reading some faction or fellowship whatever announcements today. Apparently we've got PvP planned all the way up here in like a day or 2 or 3. But I don't know. I think that crossing that we took last night, might as well just take that again today. Probably do that later though. Tyler Curves. But how? Yeah. If they don't do something about it, then it's gonna be. It's gonna be quite screwed if they don't do something about it. So hopefully we see a change. But who knows? Only time will tell, as they say. We did hear from one of the mods earlier, though, in the suggestions page, saying that they had seen it and were seeing everything, and that they were going to give us another update on Season 2 changes soon. And so hopefully that does come sooner than later, and hopefully it's good news. Otherwise, this is just going to get even worse for them. They can change that slow mode to every 6 hours if they want, and I'll be there every 6 hours dropping a stop the change. Let's see how World Chat's doing tonight. How about they just keep the game as it is and just balance units and factions? It seems like a simple solution. I missed the fireworks before, eh? What were the fireworks about? Boo. Hey, Muka, thank you very much for that follow. I do appreciate that. If you have any questions about the game, feel free to ask. I don't believe I've seen you in the stream before. If you're just here to chat about the Stop the Change hashtag going on, then we can, that's basically what the whole discussion's basically going to be focused on tonight. Just trying to find out everybody's thoughts and opinions on it. I started, because my YouTube channel, I got the community page unlocked, I guess. So I threw a poll up on there to see, I don't know, just any kind of gauge of opinion that I could even get on people's true spread, where they stood on it. The last I checked, there was more in favor of dropping the change than not, but there wasn't many votes. Will you, Tyler Curves asks, will you still be getting on your evil account? This is the thing, that's all up in the air for me right now, because if these changes go through, then no. I guarantee you I won't be. I'm not going to be playing the game anymore if these changes go through. If they don't go through, then yeah, I do still plan on going evil next season. Yeah, that's exactly it, Alice. There's no sense of choice mattering. Like there's no meaningful choice if all of the units and commanders are then just mixed together in one big, wash. It ruins a really big, really large aspect of it. One of the other things I said, like I was working on a couple of tier list videos for the good and the evil commanders. Those tier list videos are going to be meaningless if this change goes through, because you'd have to have a whole new set of tier lists, like a whole new tier list, covering the new format of commanders. Turning to the dark side, Grand Moff AJ. I'll take it. Oh, I guess I can show this off a little. I got a new sweater in the mail today. Oh. I was kind of happy to see it come in. It's got the, it may not show up on the thing, but, yep, there I am on the back. Oh, that's the thing. I was going to make a pot of coffee to go with it. I was going to have the coffee mug. I got my sweater. I got the t-shirt on underneath. I'm all like self-promoting and shit. I needed a new hoodie anyway, so it worked out. Borzy Prime. Evening. How's it going? What happened with the Zero to Hero series? I don't have time, Schnola. I'll just be straight up honest with you about that. I haven't had time to do, like, the list of videos that I've wanted to put out has just been growing by the day. But unfortunately, the game launched at probably the worst of times. I just managed to get myself a full-time job. Like, I don't know, a few days after the game launched. So I'm having to now fit streaming and trying to make videos and editing and all of that around my work schedule, and also around being, you know, a parent. So it's a struggle for me, time management sometimes. But I don't know. I really enjoy the streams. I feel like they're a great interaction, a great way to just get to know everybody and have a good time, which is why I've tried to make sure I stick to the stream schedule, almost kind of first and foremost. And then I've been looking at the videos as a side thing, that if I have time, I will work on them and try and get them out. And then like this week, this just happened where the videos I happened to be working on, in my opinion, they kind of got negated, but I also was just so disheartened by this news that it was like, well, shit, I don't even know how much longer I'll be playing the game. I don't know how much longer other people will be playing the game. This information is going to be useless if this change goes through. What the hell's the point in making the videos? And then I was all busy yesterday too, trying to get attention drawn to the Stop the Change thing so that we could get the devs' eyes on it. So yeah, just busy. Tyler Curves. So with my account being Mordor account and me getting 1,400 seasonal points after this season, should I just cut my losses and go ahead and make a good account, or stick it out with this account? Again, I don't really know right now, because of this proposed change. I now can't speak confidently on anything about the next season, because I don't know what the next season is going to look like. So yeah, because like I could tell you to go and start a good account to unlock some commanders and whatnot, but what would be the point in doing that if you can just bring all your evil commanders over? At that point, it would just be better to keep grinding out your evil commanders. So again, it's confusing to try and talk about the future seasons now. There should be a countdown for the next season, yeah? I don't want to get onto the game and then miss out on what faction I want. Yeah, as far as we've gotten right now is just the several months thing. You know, it's not very clear. And even before that, I'm pretty sure it just said 2 to 3 months, which is all right. It's better than, it gives us at least some kind of time frame, but it doesn't make any sense when, you know, we're a month into it and there's tons of servers already that have their objectives complete. Alright, you know what, actually, since I'm not really doing anything on this account right now, unless there are any questions, I'll open it up to that before I switch over to Mordor. If there are any questions about commanders from the good faction, gear, troops on the good side that I can clear up right now before I swap over to Mordor, fire them off in the chat. Otherwise, I'll wait a few minutes to let those come in. But otherwise, we'll just jump on over to Mordor and I'll start working on my own evil commanders for some reason. It'll at least be something to do, pass the time. But who knows what's going to happen with them. I get that about getting other side commanders, but isn't it better to keep good, or keep good side? Maybe change faction for a bit, but my point, isn't it better to grind one side commander than spreading our respect over 60 commanders? So I'm unclear. I get that about getting other side commanders, but isn't it better to keep good side? A little bit, Zon. Maybe change faction for a change. But my point is, isn't it better to grind one side commanders than spreading our respect over 60 commanders? Not really, because you're not really spreading your respect out. Because they're, you know, separate accounts. You've got your good account and your evil account. So, you do unlock them separately type thing. What's your best advice for playing PvP with the big boys? Really focus on troop counters, commander counters, gear, stuff like that. Little things that can give you an edge. Study your enemy and figure out, you know, one of the key things in this game is trying to figure out what time zone your enemy mainly runs on. Because if you can plan to attack them when most of them are sleeping, then you're not going to run into much resistance. Learn how to bounce people if you've got the speed to do it. Which means if you've got a tile that an enemy wants to attack, they need to get a tile, at least one tile, adjacent to you. So if they've only taken one tile adjacent and send an attack at you, as soon as you know that their commander has marched for at least 3 minutes and can no longer be recalled, you then send a commander out to take their tile. As soon as their commander hits your tile, they're just going to bounce right back to where they came from with a no combat. That can buy you a lot of time if people don't manage their tiles properly when attacking. But it can be really hard to bounce people if they've got higher speed. Like against people like Rohan, it's really hard. Especially if you are then like someone like the dwarves who have a really slow speed. It's pretty much impossible for dwarves to bounce Rohan, and if dwarves try and attack Rohan, they're going to get bounced all day. I know that from personal experience. By the way, I don't know if you've noticed when you attack 300 power tiles, some commanders have items that aren't in the game yet. Yeah, Tyler Curves, the commanders have their relics. I find that bullshit. Because we can't actually get the relics ourselves until Season 2. But, yeah, these evil commanders, they have their relics equipped. So, it's kind of poop. Well, if this change happens, it won't matter because there is a clear difference in commanders. The good faction commanders are superior in almost every way. So many people are making that assumption, Tyler. They're just coming to the idea that, oh yeah, the good commanders are all better and the evil commanders suck. It's just not true. That's the long and short of it right there. There are a lot of evil commanders that are better than good commanders. It's situational. It's about troops. It's about skills. It's not as simple as just saying, yeah, they all suck. That kind of attitude is just as lazy as the devs' attitude in trying to balance the game, in my opinion. It's just a blanket statement or a blanket approach to a much larger problem. Yes, it's harder to play evil than it is to play good. I will admit that. But you know what? It's also more rewarding because you do have to do more work to actually figure out how to succeed. It's not just it's not spoon-fed to you the way the good factions are, because I think they expect most new players to choose good faction. So they want them to have an easier time. The evil faction is supposed to be for the veterans in Season 2 that already know everything about the game and are able to make those decisions easily, more quickly. They understand the ins and outs and what to be looking for. That's honestly how I think the evil faction was set up. Because, yeah, from personal experience, it's harder to play evil and succeed. But you can succeed. If I play on multiple servers with Mordor and Gondor on one Gmail, buy some gems, will those gems be refunded at the end of the season on that Gmail as well as while the game was in the beta? Yeah, like all of your gems, if you played in the beta, then all of your gems under that Gmail account should have been refunded to you come launch. Any of the ones you were entitled to, anyway. Sorry about that. I was rushing to write it before you leave, plus I am driving. No problem. I think I figured it out. I think in our server is no one ever sleeping. Was trying to get rid of enemy forts. They just launched 5 armies at me at 9 p.m. 2 minutes later. Grind 24/7. Sometimes that happens, yeah. Especially if you're facing a large faction. Evil only suck because they are evil, not because of their skill. Alright, I think we're going to swap over to Mordor here. Whoop. Just a second before I hit that button. Let me hit that button. Huzzah. And once again, welcome to our viewers on Twitch. Feel free to throw any questions you've got out in the chat. Questions about the game. Questions about the Stop the Change movement. Questions about life. I don't know, I may not be very good at those ones, but hey, I can try. Getting overrun by mummas is no fun. Yeah, mummas can be a pain in the ass. They are a large unit though, so you can do pretty well with Dwalin or Dwalin or whatever the hell his name is. Elyon, Master Throwers, Bow Knights, things like that. Mummas are still gonna hurt, but that's basically your only option. But again, they're one that I'm pretty sure they're fairly slow. So you know, the idea of being able to bounce them might come into play. So are you in Mordor on another server or on another server? Because you can't have 2 accounts on the same server unless, like, you can't have 2 accounts on the same Gmail account type thing. I could go start an account with a different email. Gonna run an ad break on Twitch there. So see if I can turn off the pre-rolls are disabled for 21 minutes. Cool. That's pretty awesome. But yeah, you can't have 2 accounts on the same Gmail account on the same server. So I'm server 1 with my Rohan account, and I am server 100 with my Rohan account. Alright, 20 seconds remaining on that Twitch ad. I appreciate you sticking around there. Although I guess if the ad's playing, they probably can't hear me thanking them. Just thought about that. Alright, we had Agzok over here. Really not doing anything, but we'll figure something out. Do you have troops? Do you need stuff? No, you got troops. Level 16 he is. Sure. We'll take a forest. They want me to do my wish list. Fine. There. Are you happy? I did my damn wish. What the hell? I've done it. I've done the thing. Leave me alone. I tried. I tried to clear the red dot, guys. Doesn't work. Show map on Mordor account. Will do. I haven't even looked at it in a while. Wow, looks pretty even actually. Like dwarves are doing well, Mordor's doing well. Rune has been wiped out almost. They were AI though, I think on this. Yeah, they were AI on this server anyway. Angmar's been wiped out, but Isengard, Rohan, Gondor. Like Rohan's looking the weakest. Why isn't Mordor taking this yet? God, like seriously, it's a level 8 keep, guys. Come on. Okay, AJ, me and a few buddies are planning on rushing T3 wargs and building around wargs in S2. Who would fit better to run wargs, Sharku or Gorbag? Probably Sharku. Out of the two of them. I don't think Gorbag really has anything for wargs, does he? Although I guess they count as orcs. Yeah, wargs are orcs, so I don't know. You'd get 30% bonus damage with this. You'd reduce their damage, increase their speed. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Cause I don't actually know which of the two would be. Like I said, what's his name? Sharku has warg specific benefits at Respect 5, but I believe all the warg units are still considered orcs. So they would get the benefits from Sirathungol. The unknown user. Hey, welcome to the stream. Thank you very much for joining us. Wow, is Rune really that bad? I don't think so. I think it's just a case of inexperience. And like I said, they were AI actually on this server, so that would be the reason that they got overwhelmed so bad on this server. They weren't played by actual players. But yeah, the Rune spearmen do feel a little weak. Their mounted units aren't terribly great. Their war chariot though, their tier 4 unit, seems like it's going to be really strong. I'm really interested to see some reports from people using the tier 4 rune unit. Sharku gives flat defense. Gorbag gives defense percentage, but I could just use rank 5 Gorbag ability to increase damage. That would be the better idea, Curves. Tyler Curves would be to increase the damage with Sirathungol. But this is what I was talking about with Sharku, is that he gives the flat defense here, but he also gives the healing on round 5, and he also increases their damage by 30% and gives madness immunity, the same as the Sirathungol tree. I am currently ruined, but it seems like we are getting slaughtered as well. Depends a lot right now on faction numbers. If you're on a server with massively imbalanced faction numbers, it would be pretty easy to get overwhelmed. So don't necessarily take that as a judgment on your faction being good or bad, you know, your guys' ability as players in the game or anything. There are so many factors right now going into success and failure that are out of people's control. And that all has to do with the lack of balance that they release the game with. Yeah, and that's probably the bigger problem in that sense. If you don't have enough players to even mount, you know, a proper attack or defense, and you don't have enough players in your faction to coordinate with other warbands type thing, it's really hard to actually get stuff done in this game, because it's all about teamwork. Nothing can really be achieved in this game with an individual effort. There's a few things late game that can be soloed, certain keeps, crossings, things like that, but major structures, they generally all have to be done with a team. Oh, I forgot to change that music over, didn't I? We'll do that. There we go. We're not on the starting soon music anymore. Alrighty. So Mr. Agzok finally made it to his tile. Rip, guess I am getting a pretty bad first experience the first season then. I'm already at 14k blue stuff, so I don't really want to start over. Yeah, it's really unfortunate. I actually had a feeling this was going to happen when I found out, especially like about the 2 good factions being added late in the beta, early launch, sorry, like just before launch, without them addressing the balance issues. They didn't do enough to curb faction population issues, and I was pretty certain there was going to be a lot of new people coming into this game that weren't necessarily going to have a great time the first season. So I was really hoping that, and I was really encouraging people, just wait for the next season. You know, season 2 moving forward, things are going to be a lot better. Things will start balancing out. But now I can't even really talk about that because I don't have faith that season 2 is going to be very good with the changes that they've proposed. So, one more question from Tyler Curves. You have been theorycraft on your free-to-play account early game. When S2 hits, should you use your main commanders to take low-level tiles so they can start leveling, or use my throwaways? Yeah. So you would probably want to use your main commanders. Or no, you would probably want to use your throwaways to get the low-level tiles. until you got to the point that you could mock battle. And then once you could throw your main commanders on some mock battles and get them some levels, then you could start using them to hit higher level tiles than you normally would. Yeah, because you couldn't use like a level 1 commander, even if they were at respect 5, you couldn't use a level 1 commander to take out, you know, a tile that was too high level for you. You would need to have some skills, some extra command points, or something under your belt to give you the edge. These draws, man. These kinds of draws. They are the best. One dude left. That's just funny. That's a very good question, unknown user. So a draw, as you can see here, what a draw means is that over the course of, a fight takes place over the course of 10 rounds. So in the course of the 10 rounds of this fight, I didn't do quite enough damage to kill every single unit in his army. So it came to a draw. You have a 5-minute draw timer. And after that goes down, then the remaining soldiers in both armies will have another fight. At which point, it's the same thing. If you don't do enough damage in that second fight to completely wipe them out, then you'll go into another draw. That gives you time to send a second commander into the fight. Because if I were to send another commander in there before this timer goes off, then that second commander would only have to deal with this one guy. And there we go. Once the draw was finished, they fought again, and we took them out. Is Mama Kill layers even worth capturing? Okay for resource and ring power, sure, but for playing them, they cost a ton and can be easily countered if someone runs with the right unit. Tyler, that's not totally true. They're good, but they're not amazing. Like, as you said, Zon, they are really expensive. They can be countered. You have to run them alone. Otherwise, you run the risk of wiping out your own army. They're only worth 1 command point apiece. So they're really expensive. Yeah, they do a ton of siege damage. But, you know, at that point, is it worth capturing the lair for a siege unit? So, if you have Black Serpent at respect 5, he removes the Mama Kills thing that makes them attack allied units. So, at least at respect 5, you got to get that skill maxed. But at that point, then your Mama Kills will no longer attack your allies, and you can run them like normal, and then they would be an absolutely busted ass broken unit. But until then, yeah, and I mean, it is going to happen, but Lurtz had played a really, really big part in that, Tyler. You know, if you go check those battle reports, check the damage that Lurtz was putting out alone. You know, you put any troops on Lurtz, and he's still going to do that damage, and that's still going to hurt. The Mama kills are just, you know, the cherry on top at that point. So, it's not just that the Mama kills were the problem there. You know, I remember going through this same talk with Oathbreakers in the betas. People were talking about Oathbreakers just being so broken. And it's like, okay, yes, in certain situations, they can feel very, very broken. A dwarf sending an entire army of Iron Warriors at somebody, running into Oathbreakers, is going to call those Oathbreakers the most broken thing they've ever fought in the game. But guess what? You throw a little focus damage at them, and the Oathbreakers just melt. So, it's things like that that... I just have a problem with generalizations a lot of the time. I try and at least give stuff credit where credit's due if I can, or point out, you know, some benefits or flaws if there are any. And so a unit like Mama Kills, you know, yes, they're a very strong unit on paper. But there are a lot of drawbacks to them. It's the same with trolls. Like trolls, a lot of people think, "Oh my God, look at them! Look at the numbers." Yeah, they're pretty big, but it is not easy to maintain an army of trolls. My thought was to defend minus Morgul with them, but now thinking about how they're gonna die so fast and almost 20 out. Oh God, yeah, that would probably not be a great idea. They're really good. Mama kills are really good for like a surprise attack. If you don't think people are ready for them, then yeah, throw them on a commander that's going to give them some bonuses and like smash somebody in the face with them as a surprise tactic. But eventually people will catch on and start doing something to make it harder. If you're free to play, what would be the best commander to main and why? I currently have 4 commanders only, or is that too vague an answer? No, it's now which faction are you playing, unknown user, good or evil? Because I do have a few kind of go-to answers for both sides. Oh, Rune. Yeah, you did say that earlier, didn't you? So, for the evil factions, Exoc, Grima, Khaldun, Gorbag, those 4 are all pretty good choices. Exoc just pumps out a ton of damage. Khaldun does a decent amount of damage. At respect 3, gets poison damage. I believe he has tribal tactics to allow for evil men to attack twice. Gorbag offers healing as well as damage increases. And Grima brings madness to the table, as well as the second in command tree, which is pretty good for increasing the defense and avoidance of your army. God damn it, why? Never mind. I know why. Because it was this one. Oh, nice. Yeah, Kamul is pretty good. He's got the second in command tree as well. And it's one of the most... I think it's one of the best trees that the evil commanders have. So this one down here, that increases your focus and the damage dealt by your melee units. You get extra defense for your army, as well as the unit with the lowest defense getting a chance to avoid damage from multiple attacks. The go-to composition I always suggest for this is Mountain Trolls and Reapers. The Reapers get a big damage bonus from round 5 onward, and using the Mountain Trolls and Anticipation is going to allow the best chance of them surviving until round 5. And then your third unit for that composition, you can either throw in something like Crushers if you need to lower the defense of the enemy units. You can use Snipers if you need to take out their ranged units. The Spearmen if you need to take out mounts. But you've got some flexibility with that composition. But I do like Kamul. I think he's a really strong commander. I would say focus on these 2 trees first, and then put your extra points into Ring Wraith and Morgul Poison, and try and get at least 1 point into Nazgul Screech for this stun and continuous focus damage. If they cancel this idea of mixing units and commanders, do you still plan on switching to Mordor Season 2? And what's your reasoning behind it if it means you start off with no commanders? Yeah, I do, Tyler. And I've said it, I think last night on stream, that even if it means I have to join a completely new server and lose even these commanders that I've been working on and start from absolute zero, I don't care. Because I'm willing to put the time into the game if they release it properly. If they release the game the way it was intended, it's a game I know I'm going to enjoy and that I'll be willing to put time into. The more I do it, the faster it gets, because the easier it is, the more I know what I'm doing. I know that eventually, and it's not going to take that long, I'm going to get back to a position of strength. I'm going to have commanders again, and they're going to have their respect levels. I'm going to unlock gear. You know, I will get back to this position of strength eventually. It's just going to take some time. But it's time I was willing to put in on the good faction, and I'm also willing to put that same time in for the evil faction. I don't expect that... this is going to be a weird phrase to use, but I guess it makes sense here. I don't expect the time I put into the good faction to count for time served. You know, like, why should the time you put into one faction do double duty? You didn't earn anything on the evil side yet. You've earned everything you've got on the good side. But if you haven't done anything on the evil side, then you haven't earned anything over there yet. Why do you expect the devs to just give it all to you? That's my question. How would you feel like you earned anything if just all of a sudden all of your good commanders, like I've seen this conversion idea go about where just everything gets converted over to evil equivalents or good equivalents. Like, no, why? Because then I would lose all my good stuff. I wouldn't want any of my good commanders converted to evil ones. So, like I said, that's my reasoning. I don't mind putting the time into it again. I understand if other people do, but at that point, I don't know. Was this really the game for you in the first place? If, like I said, you kind of expected the time invested on one faction to do double duty. Hey, Frosh, man, you're back. Awesome. Welcome back, man. I've been missing you. I haven't seen Lauren's around either, but I know with the new stream schedule, you know, it doesn't work as well as the old one did. So it's good to see you back, man. Good to see you. What skills to use on alerts? I don't have alerts unlocked, but I'll go over and show you after I... Always watching your vids, man. Thank you very much, Frosh. I appreciate that. I haven't had as much time to be putting out actual videos lately, but because I've been trying to stick to the stream schedule, So thank you very much, Frosh. I will try. How's everything going for you guys over there? You're what server? You guys are on server 16 or 17? Yeah, like the conversion idea, Tyler. My idea on that was, at least if you're gonna do something like that, at least make it optional. Because sure, maybe there are some people that wouldn't mind converting something over or converting things over. And that I'd be okay with. If people want to convert their stuff over, that's fine. That's their choice. But I wouldn't want that forced on me, personally. Yeah, server 16. Yeah. So how are you guys doing over there? Is it better to divide training troops? Different tier 2 things? Or is it better to train only 3 different troop types until you unlock tier 3 units? Is it better to divide training troops? Different tier 2 things? You generally want to stick to your strongest, like the strongest units that you're going to be using. For me, for example, on Mordor right now, I recruit cave trolls, whatever these guys are called, brutes, and these guys, wargs. Those are the only 3 units I conscript right now as Mordor, because there's just no point in using the tier 1 units when I have the tier 2 equivalents. Got the domination title. Good job, buddy. Yeah, if you've got tier 3 units available, unknown user, then you should be recruiting your tier 3 units. You can dismiss units that you don't want too. If you come into your barracks and click the little helmet icon with the minus symbol, you can actually dismiss any units that you don't want around anymore, just to open up barrack space. And then bam, they're just gone. Alerts, yes. Sorry, thank you, Shnola. See, you've already gotten to know me well enough that you understand that my train of thought can sometimes get away on me, and you just need to get me back on track. It's not that I forgot about you or anything. It kind of is, I guess, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. So, alerts. You want to start off with the pursuer tree. Unless you get them to respect 3 immediately, because as soon as you have access to respect 3, you want to max out Urukai Firstborn for this skill right here. You get that. This deals physical damage 3 times. Each time it does a bit more damage, and then when you max it out, the damage increases with each attack. He gets raid, rush. You give him the pursuer tree that just increases his damage more. And then people wonder why they're seeing alerts put out 220,000 damage or something. I kind of do too, Frosh. I will totally say, man, like, I made the wrong choice for groups that I wanted to go with, I think. I'm not enjoying myself with the Rohan with the Rohan group that I'm in. I think it's just too big for me. I haven't really been able to do anything. I haven't felt like part of the team or anything, so it's been a pretty boring season that way. And I think I probably would have had more fun being a pirate. Your stream interrupts. Have a lag sometime. Ah. Oh, shit. I have got to hit that transition button, put up the be right back screen, And I got to go get a hold of Elyon and make sure he's all set up in the Discord for his interview. Because we're going to have Elyon joining us live on stream to chat about this Stop the Change hashtag and get his opinion and thoughts on the matter. He's actually in favor of the change. So it's going to be interesting to see what he's got to say. And yeah, should be a good discussion. Like I said, later on at 12 a.m. my time, I'm not sure what time that translates to for everyone else, but at midnight here, KingDead will also be joining us for the same reason. So make sure you stay tuned for that. I'm going to hit that transition button. I think I'm ready to, yeah, okay, transition. And we will be right back. that unmuted, that one unmuted, and yeah, we should have Elyon here with us.
Hi, how are y'all?
Hello, hello, there we go. How's it going tonight, Elyon?
Pretty good, and just to get this out of the way, I'm not necessarily totally for all of the changes. I just think that the discussion that now is happening is good for the game.
Yeah, definitely. It is good to see multiple viewpoints, discuss it from all angles. So what do you think are some of the biggest benefits that could actually come out of this for, I don't know if you think it would be more beneficial for good players, evil players, new players, but what do you think are some of the biggest benefits that could come out of it?
I mean, I think this highlights some of the balance issues that we've been talking about for a while. And it seems like for the first few weeks the game was out, the evil players were saying, our units are not as strong as yours on the good side. And all the good players are kind of like, well, get over it. That's just how this game is. And, you're going to lose when you run into our units. And it's kind of what you were just talking about a second ago. The evil players, I think, take a little bit more skill, but it seems like even when we're doing the right things and using, our Urukai snipers against fully ranged comps, the snipers are just dying too fast and not putting out a lot of damage. So, I mean, you can look at the actual stats, and I brought this up. I think on release, the Rune T3 Pikes had something like 77 combined HP and defense, where the Gondor T3 Pikes had around 120. And it's like, of course there's a difference in these units.
So. Yeah, and now I think, going with a combined attack and defense, though, I don't know if that's a great metric to use, because when you look at the two units and you kind of look at it from a logical perspective, the defense is going to skew those numbers a lot when you've got one unit that's going into the battle in full plate mail, and the other unit is going in rags.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's a little bit more obvious visually that the rune pikemen are probably going to die a little bit faster than the pikemen or the spearmen are. But I think if you look at individual numbers, I'm pretty sure the rune pikemen actually have a higher damage output and a lower damage variance.
Yeah, and I think you've talked about this before. It seems like the defensive stats help more than having damage on a unit, if that makes sense. Or they're at least easier to use.
Yeah, I will admit that I have found that at least when I'm going for like commander skills and stuff like that, if I can find defensive skills, whether that be straight defense, anticipation, healing, damage mitigation, all that kind of stuff, I find that generally to be really helpful.
Aside from that, I think some of the things that have come out of the post are good ideas. The embassy system, if you just used it for good factions and evil factions, and said that if I'm an elf player, I can do an embassy for the dwarfs, and I can do an embassy for Gondor, but I'll have to not use any Rohan units. I think that's a really neat idea. So yeah, I think some of their ideas are cool. They don't necessarily have to bring evil units onto it. I know that's what they're going to do, but that's something that I think is neat. Another thing that is kind of a balance issue is, and I think it would make it more special to play on a faction, if I'm a dwarf player, my dwarf should just be better than the other good faction's dwarfs. I should get a 20% bonus to their stat or something like that to incentivize me to play dwarves. Same with Isengard and Urukai and stuff like that. That's just something I've been thinking about.
Yeah, but, I mean, that's what the tier 4 units, I think, try to accomplish. Because as a dwarf, you're the only one that gets the Iron Warriors. And that is your, unique, special dwarven unit. It's the same with the March Wardens for the elves. and they do outperform any dwarven or elven unit used by other factions. And I just want to take a minute to thank BD Ferguson for the follow on Twitch. I appreciate that. Sorry, but just back to the point there. As I said, it seems like they've tried. I guess is what I was getting at. It seems like they tried to do things like that incentivize, certain unit types to make sure that dwarves still at least have one dwarven unit that they feel incentivized to use. Because each of the tier 4 units is kind of unique to the race, it seems.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know if we've talked about this yet. I'm an Isengard player, and I've talked to you a little bit about it, but Snagathrax seem really hard to use, whereas all the other T4s, you can kind of plug them into whatever comp you're playing, and it's just going to make the comp better, whereas it doesn't necessarily work that way for Snagathrax, from my understanding.
Yeah, I'll agree with you there. Now, I didn't use them personally, but from what I was seeing in reports and just from what I learned to understand how they work, then yeah, it seems if you pair them with the wrong units, it could really backfire on you.
And that's all. I just think it's a lot easier to play good right now than it is to play evil. And in Season 1, you're going to have noobs on both sides. So there's no expertise. No one on my server is bouncing when we're in PvP. We haven't gotten that far yet.
Yeah. And yeah, I will agree with you totally on that, I do think it's easier to play as the good factions than it is the evil factions. And like I said, I don't know if that comes down to even unconsciously or subconsciously a design choice by the devs where they maybe assumed that new players would choose good, and so wanted them to maybe have a bit of an easier time or just feel a little bit stronger, and then maybe expected that people wouldn't choose evil until they had more experience. I don't know. It makes it feel more logical to me when I think about it like that, but it's neither here nor there, I guess, what the devs are thinking, really. But I do agree with you on the embassy system that if they were to do that in like a limited fashion, the idea of being able to, recruit like mercenary units type thing from the other faction, it's not a terrible idea inherently. Just the way that they're trying to, I think, blanket the game with it is a little too much too early.
Yeah, I do wish they would have maybe waited another season, because it seems like in Season 2 we're going to get the weapon unlocks, and that's something that players can look forward to. I do wish another change that I've seen people propose is that the ring should be randomly generated at different points on the map to give some of these new factions a better chance at it.
Yeah, that's something that's been talked about a few different times, because it's not like it's been put in Dol Guldur for any kind of lore-based reason. So,
but I'm not negative on this game at all. I've been really surprised by how fun it's been. I had no idea that it was in development, so I just pre-ordered it a week before, got it, and started playing it. It seems like it's almost all the way polished, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Things.
I do think that it got rushed a little bit at the end here, but more because it feels like they started trying to add new things on at the end rather than finish polishing what needed to be polished. But yeah, like it felt so close to being in its final state at the end of the last beta that's why there was so many of us that were just so excited to get into launch, because it was like, finally, we've got the finished product. But then they threw the 2 new good factions into it, and test servers, and
yeah, it's not quite as finished as we thought it was.
Yeah, some of us have made the joke that this basically just feels like another beta, like an open public beta now.
And that's the thing, if this was still beta or an open beta, we wouldn't have any issues with what they're what
And
they're doing.
you're probably right there that if this had been proposed in a beta where people expect big changes maybe, then yeah, it probably wouldn't be as big an issue. But because this has been done a month into, or less than a month into what they called the live global launch, it's a little bit weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you on that one.
And yeah, I just see here in the chat, Dominic Serba just says that hi, and that they just started playing Lord of the Rings Rise to War today. Can we explain what is going on, what is going to change, why me or people don't like it? And so yeah, the Stop the Change hashtag that is going on, and it just addresses a change, Dominic, that's supposed to happen in the next season and moving forward, I believe. Where we're going to be able to use good and evil faction, or good and evil commanders and troops, regardless of whether or not you choose a good or evil faction. And there's just a lot of people that are kind of up in arms over the fact that it's going to break the lore, it's going to remove strategic elements, turn it into a meta game. But then there are people on the other side that actually think it sounds like a really interesting idea and kind of want to see certain commanders, Aragorn leading trolls out of Mordor, and Gandalf with the One Ring, stuff like that. So there's two sides of it, which is why I wanted to have the discussion tonight, which is why we've got Elyon here talking with us right now. So why was it that you decided to go Isengard? Was it just a random choice, or?
Yeah, so funny story. I, had not played the game before, so I clicked, Isengard, and thought that I could still back out after that, but I was launched into the story. So that's how I ended up on Isengard.
There you go.
I have thoroughly enjoyed my time on Isengard. I think it's probably the hardest faction to play right now. We don't get any neutral camps. We have pretty terrible geography.
You got hobbits nearby.
We do have access to the hobbits. You're right.
I know it doesn't make you feel any better, but
but yeah, it's like we don't get to play with Mokill or any of the kind of cool neutral ones that Mordor gets. But I enjoyed the game so far because we're all learning it on my server together. We were lucky enough to have a couple of beta players who they were elf players, but they answered all the questions that everyone had. They, like, the first week they were online basically 24/7 answering our questions in all chats. That helped us learn the game faster than I think some servers did.
Yeah.
And I think it's really neat. The communication works really well in game. Of course, it's better on Discord, but you're able to plan things through the in-game chat, and I think that's neat. So it's just another thing that is done well in the game that I don't think gets any credit.
The translation feature, I find, it's something that there are people that give it credit, but I think it gets kind of overlooked. The ability that the translation function has in this game is amazing to me.
I agree.
9 times out of 10, I find it translates what you need into enough of a logical whatever that you can make sense of it, even if it's just through context clues. And because the game is released in so many regions, when I was playing Mordor last beta, there were very few English-speaking players at one point in Mordor, and so basically all of my recruitment and trying to organize and plan with people was done through the translator, and without it we couldn't have done anything.
Yeah, I've been impressed, and I think after players get used to it, they start speaking a little bit more simply. If they're from Russia, they know that these are the words that the Americans can understand when I use. So it just takes a little bit of time.
I do the same thing myself. If I realize that I'm speaking with somebody and they're probably going to be using the translator, I try and use simpler language, not out of a sense of like not to be condescending or anything, but because I understand that translation doesn't necessarily work word for word all the time, and getting simpler ideas out is generally a more guaranteed way of getting the point across.
And this is kind of weird, but it's been fun to see. I was talking with a Russian earlier today, and they asked me what it means to be a hothead. It didn't translate it. So we get to have these conversations where I teach them a little bit about my language, and they tell me a little bit about theirs. So I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, there you go. You get the little bit of linguistics classes for free, eh?
Indeed.
And something else that you kind of touched on that I've always given this game a lot of credit for, even in the betas, I was really impressed with it because it's one of the things that's helped me get to the point where I was confident enough to start trying to help other people. The community in this game, I find one of the best communities I have ever been a part of in a game like this. For the most part, what I've seen has been friendly, open communication, people willing to help new players, just, one of the most friendly environments overall that I've ever been a part of, and not a lot of patience for trolls and jackasses and stuff like that. Just people that want to see everyone else have fun.
Yeah, even on the other factions, when we're at war with them, we're talking to each other in all chat, but it's pretty joking.
Yeah, there can be
Most
some
people...
RP sometimes and whatnot, but it's never, I don't find it ever crosses too many lines.
Yeah, I've had the same experience. It hasn't been too bad. People get upset when their faction gets betrayed by someone, who's their ally or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's part of the game, and that's what makes it so fun. So.
Yeah, I think there's always a certain level of drama to be expected when there's any level of diplomacy possible. Because there's always going to be backdoor dealings, betrayals, backstabbings, all that kind of fun jazz, and that leads to some great moments in World Chat, though, sometimes.
And that's another aspect of the game that is really cool. If you're willing to put more time into the game and become one of the more powerful players on your server, you don't have to do any of the diplomacy things. You can just go where your faction tells you to go. But it does give you the option to start being involved in the decisions for the whole faction and meetings with these other faction leaders. And that's an experience that's really cool to have.
Yeah.
In a game like this, because it's basically a big board game.
Yeah, I've compared it a lot to an online version of Risk with a Lord of the Rings skin.
Yeah, and obviously pretty advanced interactions.
Yeah,
within that,
but overall, some of the basic elements.
Exactly. So, I think the diplomacy is cool. Side note, I know people have asked for a better kind of alliance system where for a period of time you are allied with this other faction. I think it would be neat if two factions get small enough that they can join together and create a new faction, so that I don't have to, as a dwarf player, go and join the elves, which a lot of our dwarf players have done on my server. Just because I'm getting crushed.
That, I think, is actually one of the neatest ideas I've heard to deal with that issue, because to me, it would kind of solve all the issues, and it would fit lore-wise for people that want to go on about that, because there's nothing unheard of about two weak nations joining forces and finally, putting aside their differences to become one strong nation. And that's basically, I think, what you're suggesting almost. And exactly. I actually love that idea. Like you said, if you've got two factions that are kind of half populated with active players, well, why make both of those factions sit there and suffer when they could just permanently join into a new faction? And even if they, I don't know, make some just way of deciding which faction gets the new title, or have a random new title assigned, whatever. But yeah, I think that's a great idea.
And I think they should probably allow both factions to play for those rewards together, so that everybody still is motivated to log on every day and fight towards the ring and fight for more territories. On my server, I think we're kind of weird. Isengard and Gondor have been the best of friends.
Nice.
We've never wanted to fight each other at all. So
Hey, you don't have to. It's technically a free for all. That is the one thing a lot of people don't realize either. That, I mean, the way it's been set up, the game is technically just a big free for all.
yeah,
So
it was funny. The first week, I tried to have that conversation with all the players where all the good players were like, "Let's crush Isengard and Mordor."
yeah,
And I was like, "Let's not do that. That's not a very good idea." So
no, I've said for a long time that I think some of the most interesting gameplay and some of the most interesting seasons would actually come from things like what you've said, where Isengard and Gondor decide, you know what, why don't we team up? And all of a sudden, maybe you've got Mordor, Rune, and the dwarves teaming up. And then Isengard and the elves and Angmar say, well, shit, I guess we've got to team up now. You know, like, you've got all these weird good and evil alliances going on. And at that point, you would have this good and evil forces mixing that people still want to see, but in a natural way that still actually works with all of the game's mechanics. And that, I think, would be just brilliant, to actually have diplomatic avenues to create those kind of plays.
So I think there's ways of solving some of these issues, but and this is where I guess I'm not as for the change as you might have sold me to be, but the way they're doing it is a little bit ham-fisted.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and like you said, it almost sounds like when you came on here, you kind of qualified it by saying that, you know, you're not as for the changes as you might have said, but you like to be the voice on the other side kind of thing, which I respect. And I agree with you that, you know, there are certain elements of what they want to do next season that I read and thought, okay, that's not a terrible idea, but if that plus this weird commander thing you're doing is all tied up in the same package, then sorry, but that's a bad package. You know, if they could separate that mixing of commanders and some of that other stuff, then yeah, I wasn't against all of the changes that they were talking about. It was mainly this one big part to me that I just thought, nah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I do think everybody should have access to troops of comparable power.
Yeah.
It feels like the warg units are really bad compared to the mounted units.
They are.
All of the other factions. And that's, I won't complain for too long, but it's something where the good armies get there twice as fast as you, and then if we've both got, I'm the first person with the level 50 commander on my server, so I'm able to compete with pretty much all the players. But I run into a level 45 good army and lose for whatever reason, even though I brought the counters. I'm kind of like, okay, that's a little sketchy.
Yeah.
I'm doing all the things I can do in this moment, but
yeah, like you said, I mean, there are definitely, because I noticed a lot of those same things that you've talked about unit wise when I played Evil. You know, like I didn't find I used the mounted units at all, whether that was the wargs or the rune mounted units. I think there was one time
ones a lot more.
Yeah, people were having success with the dragoons by the end of it because they also, I think, have bonuses against ranged units or something, or they take less damage from ranged units, which made them a little bit more viable against like March Wardens and Bow Knights. But yeah, I was finding personally, I found the rune units in general, like the Easterling units, I just found them all kind of lacking. The wargs I found lacking, and the Morgul Arbalests, I never found a reason to use them over snipers, and felt like Angmar could have used their own melee unit in that slot. And the fact that Mordor and Angmar shared the warg unit I
Yeah,
didn't like that.
that's pretty lazy. They easily could have made it a ranged warg unit that
Yeah.
prioritizes ranged units or something like that. That's neat and unique.
Yeah, and that
Uh,
wouldn't have taken a lot of effort.
no. And I do think that is one kind of big issue is that evil doesn't get the ability to prioritize ranged units.
The snipers do. That's why I push them so much.
Uh, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, I think that's the only unit on the evil side that does prioritize ranged. Like they're supposed to be the counter to the Dunedain ranged composition because they'll do the bonus damage against ranged and prioritize them, and they also have bonus defense against melee units. So like I said, the fact that people are talking bad about snipers right now, and you know, I've seen it get explained to people, you know, numerous times in many ways as to why we were using snipers before and why they're being suggested. And the fact that they're still being talked about as so bad, it starts to make me feel like something's gone wrong with them. Maybe they're bugged, maybe they nerfed them, and that maybe the snipers being used now aren't quite the same as the snipers we were using.
Yeah, that was one of my questions. Was I wondered if you had a picture of the stats that you had. I think the snipers could be a really good unit, but they just need to be tuned a little bit to do a little bit more damage to ranged units.
Yeah, I'd have to go and check out one of my old streams or one of my old videos from the beta, but I could probably find those numbers in one of those somewhere. Because it would be interesting to compare and see if there's been some kind of big change made.
Because I did have that thought also where I'm like, I wonder if the snipers they were using are just not the snipers we're using.
Sorry, I was just reading over a quick comment in chat there, trying to make sure see if people were telling us to get on with it or, but no, we've got people just I think putting their own 2 cents in about changes to be made. At least, I hope that's what this is. Have to look for something to make this interesting. I don't know, like 1v1 battle of commanders or something. Just an extra to not fall into something repetitive and boring. Santi Sakvasil, if that is referring to just the fact that there's nothing going on gameplay-wise, I apologize. Yeah, I am still working on the format. But I want to make sure I'm paying attention to my guest and having a genuine conversation, and getting into gameplay would be distracting. So I'll try and think of something if that's what you were referring to. If you were referring to the game itself as to like late game stuff, it can get pretty boring once you've got everything complete. I also agree with that, and that yes, changes could be made there as well. But yeah, Elyon, I guess you know the way I generally sign these things off is by asking you thoughts and everything on the state of the game. But that's kind of been what this whole discussion was about.
Yeah,
So,
we kind of started with it.
I guess we'll just skip right to the if you've got any shout outs, channel plugs, if there's any projects that you're working on that you want to bring some attention to, the floor is yours.
I thought about this. Yeah, shout outs. If you like reading Lord of the Rings, another modern book that you might try is Name of the Wind. That's my recommendation for the night. So
awesome. All right, and do you have an author for that might help with lookups?
That's Patrick Rothfuss.
Awesome. Alrighty, maybe throw the name in the chat if you don't mind, just so everyone's got the spelling. All right. But yeah, there you go. I always like book suggestions. The reading word or the written word is dying. Yeah, the reading word. There we go. See, English and me, we've got a really strained relationship sometimes, but I can usually get there. The written word is dying, and people need to, keep the books going. So.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me.
Not a problem, Elyon. Anytime, and thank you for joining us. It was a great discussion.
Have a good one.
You too, man. Alrighty. All right. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed the discussion there that we were having with Elyon. And unknown user, I did see your message just as I came back from break there about, I literally said your name, and then an ad popped up. And that was about the tier 2 units. I believe I was explaining to you that you can go in and get rid of any units that you don't want. If you go into your barracks and you have any extra units that you want to get rid of, you can click this little helmet with a minus icon and disband any units that you don't want. And I showed the example that for me, I'm only conscripting cave trolls, brutes, and trackers right now because they're all tier 2 units. But if you do have tier 3 units, then you should be conscripting tier 3 units in place of the tier 2 units. Hopefully, that covers what you were wondering about before the ad rudely interrupted. And I mean, the ad thing, I apologize to the Twitch viewers if the ads are weird and obtrusive and not set up properly or conveniently, because I'll admit, I mean, I got the affiliate thing this morning, which, thank you all. I did say this earlier, but now that there's more joined, I want to say it again. Thank you all for the assistance. We did get to affiliate. I got that email this morning, got everything set up. But I'm brand new to this part of it too. So then all of a sudden I had to set up like ad manager and sub stuff and bits. And I mean, when I think of bits, I still think of computers. It's like, so 8 of them make a byte, but that's not the bits we're talking about. But hey, it's a whole new world. Again, it's all exciting stuff. Thank you very much, Andreas. And thank you, Syntax. Ah, that did cover what you missed. Excellent, the unknown user. Alrighty. So, Santi. Alright, I am glad that it was the game you were referring to. That is something that I've been a little concerned with, though, on the interview sections, is just that, and the interview sections, like I said, I do try and make sure that I'm actually paying attention to my guests and having a genuine conversation with them. So I think there was one night I tried getting into some gameplay and it was just distracting. I couldn't pay attention to them. I was losing track of the conversation and it felt rude. So I've stopped doing that, but then I don't know if it's as visually appealing for the audience. So I'm not sure exactly what to do there yet. If anyone's got feedback, suggestions, I am always open to it. And the unknown user, thank you very much for that follow, man. I definitely appreciate it. We'll be doing this again Wednesday night. And until this change has been done away with, then we're going to be running these streams as the Stop the Change streams. Last night was the first one. Tonight is number 2. So Wednesday shall be number 3. Santi, thank you very much for the sub. Definitely helps out too. I think we might actually have broken 600 subs on YouTube now. I was at like 598, I think. So who knows? You could be number 600 there, Santi. That would be exciting. I guess, I'll do a little shameless self-promotion too. I got a new sweater in the mail today. Was quite excited about that. I don't know. I showed the... Oh God. Ow. I pulled a muscle because it was wrestling with my son yesterday. The stripping now. Going to get demonetized and R-rated and all that. I got a t-shirt too. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah, I pulled a muscle wrestling with my son yesterday. That's just a sign that you're getting up there in the years, I guess. Oh, yeah, the ads are aggressive, but that's just Twitch. Okay, glad you got affiliated, though. Thank you very much, user. Awesome, Zon. Thank you very much. I appreciate the kind words about it. But yeah, I mean, any feedback that people have about the stream or segments or anything like that that I've been adding or taking away or whatnot, I'm always open to it. Always looking to improve the stream for you guys. What are we gonna take? So we got Agzoc all loaded up here, chomping at the bit to do something again. I don't like taking lower level tiles than... Okay, there's another 7 right beside him. Go do that then. Make it nice and easy. Oh, I should probably contact KingDead too. That was the other thing I was going to do. Make sure we've got KingDead ready to join us here. For his interview. And we'll chat with him about this as well. And now the one thing I did want to start doing was like opening the interviews up to questions from the chat though. So if anyone's got questions for me or KingDead while the interview is going on, I will try and pay attention to them and get to them while it's going on. Feedback. Perhaps a live small clock on screen or time zone in the title. The title shows there is an interview, but not what time zone, so it's hard for Twitch viewers to see. Okay. Yeah, I do usually try and add like the EDT or the Eastern to the times when I post them. But if I forgot to do that with that title, then I will make sure to add it. Tried to get a 200 power tile earlier with my level 35 Agzoc and Khaldun. It went terribly wrong. They got destroyed by cavalry. My halberdiers weren't enough, sadly. Ouch. That is rough, Syntax. I am sorry to hear that. All good, just figured I'd mention it. Yeah, thank you very much, user. I do appreciate it. Is that the like the time in the stream title? Because I've got the interview times posted in a few different like screens and overlays, and hard to keep track of where I've put the time zone tag. I also get confused trying to remember sometimes because I'm in Canada whether or not we are on EDT or EST. Pretty sure we're on EDT right now, but I think that's going to be changing here again soon. So, gotta love daylight savings time. Just makes things so simple. Yeah, just the title. It's like the main thing people read. Yeah. So it's probably important that I make sure that's accurate. All right, so we do have KingDead is ready. We gotta get his how do I? All right, whatever. Oh, there we go. Click that. All right. So there we go. KingDead should be set up and ready to go. He's got his permissions in the channel. So once he's ready to go, we'll be chatting with him about this as well. I think he's against it, but I'm actually not 100% sure what his feelings on this change are yet. So it'll be good to discuss it. I hope with the next update that has been announced, AjMc's damage will be fixed. His damage was so damn low compared to Khaldun. Really? That's strange. I've been hearing some weird things about AjMc lately. I doubt many would scroll all the way down. I think that's only a handful. Yeah, probably. Out of topic question, your favorite movie, not including Lord of the Rings. Zon, I would probably say... Probably Godfather. Yeah, I think if I have to pick ones on, probably gonna go with Godfather. Dude, AjMc's damage is insane. Okay, so then there is something else that's going on with people's AjMc's, because it sounds like his damage is still pretty good. I mean, he doesn't take off until, I don't know, really... Like, let's take a look here at his skills again. Because even mine right now isn't doing a ton. But once you get him to level 30, you could have both of these maxed. 44, and you could have both of those maxed with 2 of these maxed. And then... what, 58? And you could have all 6 of these maxed. You would then need 3 more to get 2 into this and 1 into this. Not that, this. So that would be 61. So in my opinion, AjMc needs a total of 61 points to maximize the insane damage that I'm used to seeing on him. And I wouldn't expect to really see his damage numbers spike until you've got at least this maxed, this maxed, this maxed, and probably this maxed. Once you start seeing, most of these get maxed out, the numbers kind of jump at one point. He'll be doing basically nothing, and then all of a sudden you're gonna read an AjMc report and just go, what? I can show you even mine here. I don't know if this maybe helps you, because I've got a level 17 AjMc. You just saw my build, and here in this fight he did 22,518 damage, which he's not even doing as much damage as the soldiers right now. So to me, that's meh. But eventually that should skyrocket. Old school stuff. Okay, I see you. Good choice. Yeah, man. I'm into some of the classics. I appreciate good cinema. Yeah, I know. My AjMc's might is way higher than Khaldun's. Gear is pretty much perfect as far as blue gear goes, but he just doesn't seem to do the damage I'm used to. That's weird. Thanks for having me. Yeah, my AjMc is pretty consistent, over 200k now. Awesome. That is awesome to hear, Cody. And while you're here in chat again, Cody, if you just want to pop the author of that book, and the title too, even if you want the title and the author of that book in chat, just so people have the correct spellings of everything if they do want to look it up. Also, just a quick thank you for answering all my questions and others. It's helped me a lot to understand the game better. I am too new to understand what this Stop the Change is about, but but I am sure it'll be good to know about now and understand it all later. You're quite welcome, unknown user. That's, it is really why I started this channel, to just help people understand the game a little bit better, because I remember how overwhelmed I was when I got into it. There's a lot of information to take in this game. There's a lot of little nitty-gritty stuff to figure out, and there's a lot that sucks to learn the hard way. So anything I can do to help people understand things a little bit better or enjoy the game a little more, I'm quite happy to. Rainbow Pit, how's it going? What's up? Rothfuss. Okay, thank you. See that, and that was one of the reasons I wanted you to spell it out, because I wasn't exactly sure if it was Rothfuss that I heard, or Rothsus, or the end of it I couldn't quite make out. So thank you very much for that. The Name of the Wind, for a modern author similar to Tolkien. So there we go. If anyone's looking for a good book recommendation, then Cody has recommended The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. If anyone does take a look at it and check it out, make sure you let us know what you think of it. I'll be looking it up myself and seeing what it has to offer. So thank you very much, Cody. I always like a good read, especially with winter coming up. It's good sometimes to just curl up and get a good book. Do I have time to read right now? Jesus. I can force time in. Oh, and I during the interview, I saw Brad the Bard pop in and say hi, and I forgot to say hi. Hello, Brad the Bard. Thank you once again for joining us. Pretty happy we got Barad-dûr today. Mordor is close to being for the history books. There you go, Rainbow Pit. I mean, now it's Mount Doom or nothing, eh? See if you can take Mount Doom. That is the hardest structure in the game to take. So, but hey, good on you for taking Barad. Jeez, there we go. Taking Barad-dûr. Oh, geez, it's 12:03. Is KingDead here? Where's King? Are you here? Hello, KingDead. Yeah, KingDead's joining us here in just a second. Because yeah, that was my bad, losing track of time. But I've already got it. His permissions changed and the voice chat unmuted. So once he jumps into the call on Discord, we should be good to go.
Hello?
Hey, Mr. KingDead. There he is.
Hi, brother.
How's it going, man?
I'm just bouncing some dwarves right now.
Just bouncing the dwarves. See, and it's funny because I was talking about, dwarf bouncing earlier. And you're just here showing, yep, that's just kind of how you deal with the dwarves.
They're so slow. It's so easy to deal with it.
Oh, yeah, they are. They really are. It's sad. Like I said, I remember my days as a dwarf. I loved it, but, yeah, I hated going up against Rohan and just all the friggin' horses.
All them ponies.
All the ponies. Riding my pony.
Sorry, my son's in the background. He's doing his homework right now.
That's all right, man. Hey, little dude. How's it going?
Yeah, he's not gonna say hi today.
Oh, fine then.
He's oh, there it is. Never mind. He's got his homework. So
Yeah.
I was like, he has his homework, so he's like, he don't care about anybody right now.
No, that's the important stuff there, right there, man.
Yeah, once you give him his tablet, that's it. You no longer exist as a human. That's what cracks me up about him. Because all his homework is on the tablet now. So as soon as you give it to him, it's just, who are you and what do you want?
Walks in from school.
He said hi back.
Dad, I want to do my homework now.
I know. That's what bothers me. He's like, hey, can I do my homework now? I'm like, I know what your homework is, and it's not really homework.
I know what you're trying to do.
So how's it going, brother?
It's going pretty good tonight. We've been having some good discussions about the changes that they're planning on making. We just had a pretty good discussion with Elyon. My stream, I don't know, maybe now that you're joining us, maybe you're bringing the same kind of voodoo that I brought to your stream earlier, and things are going to start going wonky, but,
I hope
things have
not,
been going
because-
well that way so far. I've got a good connection to YouTube tonight.
I hope not, because earlier it was weird. Well, you know what? To be fair, the first time, I blame you a little bit.
Yeah, from the sounds of it, I mean, hey, that one might have been my fault. I don't know.
I opened up that thing and it crashed hard, and I was like,
Wow. Oops. Admittedly, the suggestions page has been blowing up for about the last 2 days, so there's a lot of gifts on there.
laughing at all those gifs, and then I realized that the actual stream had crashed, because that's when Malang messaged me. He's like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "What do you mean? I'm right here." He's all, "No, you're not. We can't see you." I was like, "Oh, okay." And then I looked. Keep it down, buddy.
So just quickly here, I do want to address the unknown user's question. He just asks what's up with forts, and you keep seeing everyone talking about them, but you have no idea what they do except increasing your little circle. And yeah, it's a little bit unclear when they explain it, because I think they explain it as it increases your movement range, but it doesn't. The fort doesn't increase the circle around your settlement. Each fort has its own movement range circle. So you take a tile at, as you can see here, like at the edge of one of your movement range circles, and then you would build a fort on that tile to create its own movement range circle that you could then repeat the process with. And that's how you do what's called fort hopping to farther locations. Although now you can just use the long march feature once you hit ring level 25. Spend, what is it, King? 10 ability points for a long march?
Yeah, it's 10. It's such a great ad right there. 10 ability points to get across the map.
And yeah, like there's some other restrictions for it, isn't there? It's still new, so I can't remember exactly all the requirements for it. Do you remember anything more?
It has to be in your region. It has to be in your region, and then it cannot be anywhere near just like a blank spot. It has to be like next to your allies' camps.
Okay, so you march on you march on an empty tile like any other tile, and it's got to be in a region that your faction controls.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah, and then it costs you the 10 points, and you've got to tick that little long march box. I think it is. Yeah, I think I might be able to. I don't know if I'm even ring level 25 right now, but yeah. Okay, here we go. So yeah, the long march feature. Yeah. Oh yeah, I will admit, I thought the 10 ability points was a little bit steep when I first saw it, but you use it so little, really, that it is worth it, hands down. Hands down, it's worth it.
Yeah, it is. Especially when, like, for us, we have areas in the Shire all the way to the other side of the mountain. Like, right now, we're pushing Dale, or Elven King's Hall. So,
yeah.
If you have to get from the Shire to Elven King's, that's such a nice feature.
Yeah.
Especially if you got eagles.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that would make it so much faster.
It is. It's like an hour march if you got eagles.
Now, have you been able to figure out yet? I don't think it would, but the reposition speed ring skill, that doesn't apply to long march, does it?
No, that only applies to forts.
Just going into forts. Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought, because that was the old reposition function.
Yeah, it's the same button. They just changed the name, which they should just have kept it the same. I missed the reposition button.
Yeah, because I actually don't really like the way that it works now, where your troops automatically enter forts when they march on that tile, and when forts finish construction, that's not bad. But the fact that they automatically enter forts when you send them to a tile, I don't actually like that feature.
Yeah, no, I don't like that either.
It wasn't a big enough deal for me to make any fuss about. as I
Yeah,
have
I
with
also
this.
I like how they have the summon button, but I hate when you hit recall now. Like it recalls you to like the nearest fort instead of taking you back to like the tile or back to your base. And it costs stamina too, so I don't like that either.
Yeah, yeah, it was a bit weird how they approached the change to that, but you know, I've come to get used to that one already.
Yeah, me too. It's one of those where it's like a petty, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's petty where you're like,
nitpicky.
I miss it,
Yeah,
but I don't really need it.
nostalgic. We're the
Yeah.
old dudes thinking, oh, I miss the good old days.
Yeah, the other day I was like, I missed the reposition button. She's like, what's the reposition button? I was like,
Reminisce.
you children, you children will never know.
But you know, speaking of like changes and whatnot, I guess that leads into the whole topic of tonight's discussion. As I said before you came on, I don't know if I've gotten your full opinion on the proposed changes about good and evil factions and commanders and troops and whatnot mixing. But how do you feel about it? Do you think it's a good, a bad change, an interesting change?
I think it's an interesting change, but I don't think it's a change that we need. You know, like I feel like there's so many more problems or bigger problems, in my opinion, that need to be fixed with this game that just seems like they went off topic.
Yeah.
You know, like I feel like everyone is talking about server health and getting newer players not to quit, and then out of nowhere they're like, well, guess what, guys, you could take your evil comms with you to good, and you're kind of like, wait, what?
Yeah.
You know,
And you know,
like,
that
that's how
seems
I
to,
feel towards it.
well, that seems to be the really common thing that I'm hearing when I do talk to people about this is just, you know, it's not necessarily that everybody just 100% hates the idea. It's that it's not the right time for it because there are so many other glaring and obvious issues to be addressed and so many other kind of better ways or less extreme ways that they could try addressing them before implementing something this extreme this early.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's exactly how I feel about it. Like there's just for me there's bigger things that I would have concerned myself with besides people worried about evil factions and oh I'm not going to be able to take my comms with me, you know. I mean, I don't see it like you're going to lose your comms. If they wanted to fix this, they could have easily just done like that trading system that I've mentioned, or just hey, if you decide to choose it, that's your deal. You know, we didn't force you to choose it, but you chose to choose it.
Exactly,
You
and
know?
that's something that I've been trying to push is the fact that if you know, I was mentioning it earlier, the fact that it seems like people are trying to look at it as the time they spend on one faction should be doing double duty, and that
Yeah.
just because they put effort in on the good faction means that they're entitled to success on the evil faction. It's like, but you didn't earn any of that, though. You've
Yeah.
earned everything you have on the good side.
I mean, I kind of see them. I know it's weird, but I see like the commanders and stuff kind of like Pokemon cards.
Yeah,
Like you can't just go out and get a brand new Pokemon card because you want a new Pokemon card. You know, you have to either buy it or earn it. You know, like I'm that type of person that likes to collect things. So I mentioned to my group that once I collect all the good comms, I want to go to Evil Faction and then collect all the bad comms.
yeah.
You know.
I don't want to convert my good commanders into evil commanders because then I'm gonna have to do it all over again.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
but you know, that's why I say that conversion option, I'm actually in favor of something like that if they were to make it optional. Because sure, maybe there are a bunch of players that would just rather say, whatever, I don't care. I don't plan on playing good faction again. I just wanted to check each side out once. And okay, then they can convert all their commanders over to the other side, have a ball, and that would be fine. But you know, they didn't even attempt to find a middle ground, it seems.
Yeah, I think since they were just trying to push this evil units to good units side, you know, that they didn't really consider their options. You know, I find it strange that, you know, this is a brand new game, and it still feels like we're in the beta phase.
Yeah.
And right now, I feel like they're just kind of throwing things at the wall and hoping it sticks.
Yeah.
You know?
You know, you throw enough shit at a wall, some of it's gonna stick.
Yeah, exactly. Something's gonna work, but
I just thought about it too. This idea about the commander change, it actually almost feels to me like one of those ideas where like the meeting was going on. There was, because we've got that meme going around where there's the people making the suggestions, but I think that might be inaccurate. I think what might have happened, maybe there is a team of dedicated developers sitting around that board table, really working hard, coming up with what they think are good solutions, but the boss, the guy that actually runs everything, all of a sudden sitting at his desk at 3 in the morning on his 12th cup of coffee said, what if we just let them use everything? And thought, that's brilliant. Busted into the boardroom and just said, guys, screw all your plans. This is how we're fixing it. I don't want to hear anything else. And now the devs are all sitting on their hands going, well, guys, we'd love to fix the problem, but we're all going to get fired now if we do. Who knows? Maybe it's a giant catch-22.
Yeah, I think they're testing to see how everybody feels about it. I don't think they're gonna go through with it. I think they're just gonna see how it felt with the community, and right now with the whole stop the change. I almost said stop the steal. Stop the change. Thing. I feel like they're just gonna like go back on it, and if they wanted to add it, they should have added it to like the special servers to see how it even worked.
Yeah, or like they should have at least talked about it in the betas, because I've been hearing from other people too that apparently some of the devs were saying that this was planned all along, even in the betas, that this was what they planned on doing. And it's like, that's bullshit. They didn't mention anything about this to anybody in any of the betas. There was no survey done, there was no testing done, there was no anything done regarding this ridiculous idea beforehand.
If they would have put it in the survey, I think they would have got the answer that they wanted. Like if they had put it in there as like, oh, how do you feel about comms mixing? They would have got a solid answer.
Yeah. And just quickly, I just want to address Cody's comment here where he says they are definitely going through with it. The amount of coding that has been done for S2 is probably ridiculous. That doesn't matter, Cody. I have personally seen game developers scrap months worth of code because the players of the game told them, you change it or your game dies. They will sacrifice months worth of code if they know that it's for the better. Because in the end, it's not hard. The changes that they're going to make, they'd be easy to remove. They would have to have contingencies in plan just in case this happened. Otherwise, they were always 100% willing to kill the game regardless.
Yeah, they did the exact same thing with Destiny. They canceled it out like a month before the game was released. The whole beginning was just scrapped, and then they released basically like this half-baked game and didn't get fixed till 3 years later.
Oh, you mean Destiny 2?
Both of them went through the same issue.
Yeah, luckily I didn't play Destiny 1 until Taken King when everything got fixed, but...
Yeah, same here. You got lucky.
Oh, yeah.
For Destiny 2, the same thing happened. I didn't come in because I made the same judgment call. I was like, you know what?
I didn't.
By the time they release this game, it's going to be half-baked and something's going to be wrong, so...
I pre-ordered Destiny 2.
Yeah, I didn't. I got lucky on that one. Yeah. Once again, I trusted my gut, and I was like, nope, I'll wait. I'll wait till you guys fix your problems. And I think this is going to be a community call on this one. That's what I think.
I do too.
I think they're going to see. I think if there's enough support for it, it'll go through. And right now we're seeing mixed feelings. So I think they might either put it in the special servers and hope that it sticks and people like it. I don't think it will. There's too many imbalances in the game that need to be solved before, like there's just too many problems to add more stuff like that.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there that like they've got to listen to the community a little bit. They can't just completely ignore the outcry that's been going on. I think a lot of people have been looking at the reactions to the common question thread that the devs put out, and I'll admit the response to that is overwhelmingly positive compared to the negatives. But there's been a lot of good points made that they basically hid the commanders mixing part of that in with a bunch of other changes that don't sound all that bad. And so there was many people saying that, first of all, it's a lot harder to actually find that common questions thread. But second of all, the amount of people that were probably voting for other things, that if they had separated some of the stuff out, the votes would be different. My opinion on it has just been, look at the game suggestion page. I'm sorry, but if you've got to turn the slow mode rate from half an hour to 2 hours because you don't like what you're seeing, you got a problem.
Yep. Yes, you do. And like I said, I looked at it, and the first thing I saw was a bunch of those GIFs, and it crashed my screen, and I was like, okay, people don't like it.
Yeah,
you guys are gonna have to address this somehow.
I was amazed when I woke up this morning and opened the phone and just started scrolling back up.
Yeah, if you
to
read
see...
a lot of this, a lot of people are not so happy with it at all, you know. And this right here is what's gonna make them change their mind.
Yeah.
And I hope they do. I wouldn't mind them adding, like I said, I wouldn't mind them if they did like mixed comms. Like, I get it. Like if you had Paul Deer like running like orcs or urks, you know, it'd be neat. And the whole aspect of them taking more damage because they don't like each other. That's pretty neato. I like that.
Yeah, and I think that's what Cody was talking about, or what Elyon was talking about with, you know, the embassy system. It's got potential, and, you know, and that's where I think the middle ground needs to be found.
Yeah.
Needs to be found here, because there's something that could work, but I don't think it deserves an extreme one way or the other.
Yeah, and especially so early, like. Just keep beating a dead horse when I say it. It's too early for this, you know. Like let's fix some of the issues. Let's fix berserkers. Berserkers don't do what they're supposed to do. They also should add a different tier 4 Eisen. You know, not a lot of people like the Snagathrax, and a lot of people want wargs with bows, kind of like bow knights, but with wargs.
Yeah.
And a couple of heroes on the evil side, I think, need buffs. Because they can't really compete well with good. I mean, if you can use your good factions, you know everybody's gonna get their good heroes, go straight to evil, and buff all their evil units like that.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be extremely like OP. Like I talked about Arwen having trolls with her healing ability. I was like, she's gonna be healing them?
Oh, whoops. I think I just accidentally disconnected from the call. Hello.
There we go.
All right. Yep. Oops. I accidentally disconnected from the call there.
I was like, it's me, guys. This is my stream now.
Being all professional here. Just being like, yep, screw it. You take over, King.
Yep, I got this, boys. Put me in.
That's
also
coach.
what I said earlier. I was like, just have them hire me for 10 minutes and I could solve these issues. I just need 10 minutes of their time and I could give them the answers that they want.
Well, and that's one of the reasons too that I started thinking about that like boss idea, where this almost feels like somebody walked in and was just like, this is what's happening and I don't care what anyone else has to say, because it feels like too logical an issue, that like there are too many people that have come to that conclusion of like, okay, this is too extreme, but you don't necessarily have to do away with it completely. How are you going to make it work? And all they were able to do this morning was say, well, we think you've misunderstood. Let's explain it. It's like, no, we're not the ones that have misunderstood the situation.
Yeah, I was like, I think you guys misunderstood us. You know, when I read that, I was like, I think it's the opposite around. I don't think you're taking a second to view how we see it, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Especially as we're the ones who are playing the game, you know, especially the beta players. A lot of the beta players are looking at this and they're going, yo, what? You know? Like, this is kind of extreme. Like, I told you, someone said if they had Boromir and Lurtz fighting together, he was like, I'm out. I'm done.
Like, what? And you know, the fact that we already have Gandalf the White and Gandalf the Grey together is a little weird. But then, yeah, you're going to start bringing in things like Lurtz and Boromir fighting side by side.
Yeah, someone said Eowyn and the Witch King.
Yeah. You know, buddy
And I was
now.
like, yeah, okay. Dwaylen and Uruk Commander, Sharku.
Merry and Pippin and Sauron or Saruman. You know, there's just so many combinations you can think of that kind of make it just like, what are you thinking?
You know, I told someone earlier, I was like, what if they wanted to do this? I think if another faction had allianced up with an evil faction, kind of to make it easier, because you know how we always say that evil faction is outnumbered, you know, in all these servers.
Yeah.
You know, like if Gondor alliances up with Mordor, then they can conscript units from Mordor's side.
That.
Like
yeah.
You know, that way it's not always evil versus good. You know, things can kind of like change up a little bit.
And see, like something like that to me, I think is a perfectly reasonable way of approaching this kind of situation. You know, I think it ties together the kind of embassy idea that Elyon was saying had potential. Mm-hmm. And speaking of which, he was even making a little joke here saying, LOL, was King listening to me? I agree with these comments. But yeah, you know, that I think would be really cool if you had that kind of, because people have talked about the alliance system. And so, like you said, if you had two factions that allied, then maybe you could recruit units from that faction to use.
Yeah, and it would totally get evil off of, you know, getting screwed. Because, I mean, Isengard is all but done on our server, as I've showed you before.
Yeah.
You know, and then Mordor, we just took Minas Morgul today. So, I mean, if it gave us incentive to, like, you know, alliance up with one of them, I would choose Mordor for the trolls. You know, I love trolls. You know, but that kind of gives you like an incentive to not always have good versus evil, and then you get to tie in that embassy thing that what was his name was talking about?
Elyon, yeah,
like that's a good idea.
It's
I didn't
Cody.
Hear that,
it's also Cody in the chat. I referred to Elyon. Where is it? Have you changed your name to Cody? Or no, is it?
Who are you?
That's on Discord. Elyon is the name on Discord. I was like, I know I got Elyon from somewhere. Discord, there we go. But I do think you should put that in the game suggestions, King, because that is one of my favorite ways that I think I've heard of tying all of the positives together while trying to reduce all the negatives of the situation. Yeah, I think that really isn't a pretty elegant solution to it, really.
This is why I need 10 minutes of their time.
There you go, man. There you go. Just as long as you're not the guy getting thrown out the window in the next meme.
Yeah. 10 minutes in a Modelo and I can solve all their problems.
There you go.
But yeah, you know, I was thinking about it and I was just like, there has to be a way that they can keep their implementation of this and then make it not so crummy while solving a problem. And you know, I saw that embassy thing here when I was reading that page, and I was just like, well, now we gotta take a tile and their thing, and so we can get their units. Like, that kind of doesn't sound cool, you know?
Yeah.
But
yeah, the way that you were describing it working, I think would be a lot easier and a lot more efficient. And then it would also bring in that kind of alliance system in that,
everybody wants, you know? Everybody wants alliances because, you know how many times I've accidentally hit Rohan's tiles and they look at me like, well, is Gondor invading? And I'm like, no, it was an accident.
And that I've also seen another suggestion for the kind of alliance system that's not even an alliance system, but the idea of making tiles of other factions a shade of their color kind of thing. Somebody had suggested, the one I saw suggested, said like rune tiles for Mordor would be a yellow color instead of red. They would still function like enemy tiles, but the color of the tile would represent the faction, just to make it easier in situations like that, so that you weren't hitting Rohan when you meant to hit Loth or whatever.
Yep. That would help out like so much, and these are the changes
Yeah,
that people want to see, not the
exactly.
changes that they're adding. And there's nothing wrong with the changes that they're adding. It's just we need some of the quality of life changes
Yeah.
that everybody's been asking for. You know,
The changes they're
alliance.
adding are things that could be added later when they've addressed the ones that people actually want to see.
Yeah, especially now that we're starting to lose players.
Yeah.
For simple things like they just spawned in the wrong server. Like, I really do feel bad for Isengard on my server because we hit them and then they were just like, yeah, we're done playing. And now it's like, okay, well, just give me Hobbiton and you guys can keep playing on your guys' side.
You had to take those hobbits to Isengard.
Yeah, well, that was the goal. That was my plan, was to take the hobbits to Isengard. And when they took Hobbiton, I was just like, okay, well, I have to get hobbits. Because my challenge mode right now is to hit Barad-dûr with hobbits.
You want to hit
that's what
Barad-dûr with hobbits?
I just want to
Good
see
luck.
like if they could take a level 50 out.
No.
Like, it's dumb, and I know we're gonna take Barad-dûr
good luck.
with no issues.
You better be doing that on stream. I mean, I want you to. That should be like a big event stream right there. Taking hobbits taking Barad-dûr with hobbits. There
Yeah,
you
and I
go.
know we're gonna take Barad-dûr with no issues. I just told them, I was like, I would like to see what level 50s would do to those little hobbits.
You should get you should get like your 10 strongest players to all go and get a hobbit camp and just have everybody load up their strongest commander with nothing but hobbits. And just see if you guys can actually take out Barad-dûr with just a giant army of hobbits.
Like,
Taking the
like
hobbits
we're
to
that strong at this
Barad-dûr.
point. Like, we're just messing around.
Yeah. And that's what happens
Like
at the end sometimes. It's just this is where the random weird testing comes in.
Yeah, we were fighting, me and Eeyore, the other day. We were throwing hobbits at each other, just to see like how it was going. And I was actually surprised like what Gandalf does to hobbits.
Yeah.
It's not something that I would like to use in battle, but it was interesting.
Yeah, exactly. They're good for testing, but no, I don't think they're very viable in battle. They just taking up that unit slot is really what kills them.
Yeah, I know with my odds that when I hit Barad-dûr with hobbits, Kieran is gonna pop up, and then it's just taking that L, just clocking out, boys.
Just a quick response here to Zahn in the chat. Yes, if you're trying to relocate your fortress, all of your commanders do need to be brought home before you can relocate. Otherwise, they'll get lost and scared. You're moving to a new neighborhood. They got to get used to it, meet the neighbors and everything. So yeah, you got to bring them with you.
Exactly.
But Mr. King, I think I'm going to wrap this up with you. I'm going to get some stuff finished off on mine. But as always with my guests, I'm going to give you an opportunity to plug, your channels, your projects, any shout outs you want to do. I don't know, you want to just call me ugly?
No projects.
No
we
projects.
Are planning a Halloween. We are planning a Halloween special, and I'm forcing him to do it.
Oh, jeez.
So I don't know when that's gonna happen. We still have to schedule that.
I mean,
he said Halloween, and I said, you know what, I'm
probably
I'm down.
around Halloween, but
yeah, and then I also have a pirate special popping up. These guys are trying to get me to dress up like Misty. Not happening.
Locking yourself into that one, eh?
Yeah, they're really trying, man. Every day I log in, they're like 24-hour Misty stream, and I was like, bro, I have a beard. But yeah, I stream on Twitch. I'm under KingDead XXI. You've seen me. I'm on his Discord.
Indeed.
I'm always challenging him to bring a real live horse on his stream.
And yeah. Eventually, maybe
real,
one of these days, I will maybe get a real horse. But I mean, I got a wooden horse the one day.
The horse. You gotta stream
from the horse. Oh, see, you're moving the goalposts on this horse every time now.
Well, you know what?
Next, it's gonna be a unicorn.
The more people that start to follow you, you have to raise the bar because now you're an affiliate now. So that's it.
True.
The bar's up there. Okay, you gotta kick it up.
Gotta up my game.
Yeah. What's the next one? Partner. If you want to get partner, that's it. You gotta bring the horse.
Yeah, if you want to get partner, you gotta have a horse on stream. I'm pretty sure that's like somewhere in the achievements list there.
Yeah, it's on the contract.
Yeah.
Full contract.
Fine
No
print.
need to check it though. No need to check it. But
Oh man, I always love having you on, King. It's always a great chat.
I try to make everything positive. You know, I know there's a lot of like negative things that are going on, but you know, if we can just work out our issues all together, then this game is gonna go far.
Well, the one thing I always try and remind people too, whenever there is something like this that happens that generates negativity, the one thing that I think a lot of people need to keep in mind is that, you know, stuff like what's going on in the game suggestions page, and I mean, I will take responsibility for the part I've played in that because I have really tried pushing the stop the change thing. It only comes from a place of love and passion for the game. It's only because these people enjoy the game and love the game and have so much hope for the potential that the game offers that causes them to have that kind of reaction to something like this. It's concern for something that they do enjoy and love. It's not that these people just want to hate on the game and you know, bring negative feelings towards stuff needlessly. So at least that's my feeling on it. Like personally, that's where it all comes from for me. Is I do love the game and I think it's a great game and has a lot of potential. And I just get concerned when I see something that I feel is going to do this much harm.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree. If people are not on board with it, then I don't think we should go through with it, you know, or at least not in the way that it's being baked out right now. Because if it comes out, you know, not great or half baked, as I usually say, it's gonna do a lot of damage. It's gonna do worse than it will do good. And I don't want anybody to quit this game. You know, half of my messages after I beat people when I'm fighting them is just, you know, good job, try harder next time, you know, do something, change it up, you know, change it up. You got beat because your commander levels are lower. Mock battle.
Yeah, or, you know, try this counter troop to this particular unit I beat you with type thing, or particular commander skill or gear, things like that. That's one of the things I've praised is the community, yourself included, have been great at helping anyone that either asks for help or that we see are struggling.
Yeah, I try to make them take the walk of shame with just a little bit of advice, you know?
Yeah.
You know, that's the way I see it. Like, if you're gonna take the L, then at least take the L and learn something. If you're not learning something, then you're just gonna keep doing it, and then you're gonna get upset with yourself. But I've kept you out for too long. Thank you for the invite. Tell your stream I say hi. I'm gonna be lurking in the chat like I always am.
Alrighty, man.
And you have yourself a great night, man.
I will do. You as well. And just before you leave, I want you to make the decision as to which commander we're sending at this crossing.
You're sending Galadriel.
Oh, alrighty. Galadriel.
Send her in.
Go.
Send her in.
We'll treat her like a Pokemon.
If I can't use her, at least you can.
I mean, she's leading the charge. We're gonna be sending everybody, but yeah, she'll lead the charge.
As long as she gets there first.
All right, man. You have yourself a good night.
You have a good one.
We'll chat again.
Bye.
All right, peace. Alrighty. Well, there we go. That was a bit more casual chat with KingDead. That was, I think that's the third time. I didn't even address that, but I think that's at least the second time that we've had King on stream. Might have been his third time. But, yeah, it's always a bit more casual chat with KingDead there. He's a good guy, though. As he said, streams on Twitch as well, so if you haven't checked him out yet, be sure to do so. I try and host him whenever I can. Shnola, what skill use on Gandalf the Grey? You have him at almost respect 5. And yes, the unknown user, as I said, like I'm sure I saw something in there about needing a horse for partner status. Like I said, it's hard to find. You got to really dig into the fine print for it, but I'm sure it's there. It might even be a horse of many colors. But Shnola, the big trees for Gandalf the Grey, Mithrandir is a really big one. The damage reduction that Gandalf gives to the enemies, as well as the avoidance, convener, at respect 1 is always nice. 75% chance to attack twice every round. You do get free peoples as well, which just decreases the damage received by pretty much everyone you're going to be using. That one, as you can see, I don't prioritize it as much as I do getting up into the gray for the healing, because this also provides more avoidance as well as a stun. You've got a stun on the wizard, and then you can go into White Council as well if you get him, once you do get him to respect 5, because this provides a pretty large damage debuff for your whole army for the first 3 instances of damage, since it's modified by the focus stat. And so you'll generally be stacking focus gear on this guy to take advantage of most of his skills. Champion of Light is pretty good as well. Bonus damage to orcs, Uruk-hai, and trolls. High Alert, it can be good because, again, going against the evil commanders, you are going to be facing a lot of focus, burn, and poison damage. So he's got a lot of options, really. I wouldn't suggest maxing out this tree. Surge is good. It does a lot of focus damage. Pipeweed Connoisseur can give you a decent focus boost, but the healing from this and the benefits from these, I think, are better. Alright, so we sent her, now we can send everybody else. And I'm going to have to talk to Crown Weatherby and find out why he is no longer a part of this fellowship, considering he's the only reason I joined this friggin' group. To be perfectly honest. Yeah, no problem, Schnola. Yeah, I'm quite interested to find out interested to find out why Crown isn't in the fellowship anymore. That is interesting. You know, even with the minus 70% siege buff, I might still be able to take this crossing, considering it's only at 230,000. We'll see. What did Galadriel do here? Took out a level 30 Aragorn. Pretty handily. 115,000 soldier damage. Nice. I will take it. So what happens if a faction gets wiped? Do we all just sit back and enjoy the show? I see maps that no longer have rune at all. So what happens is those players that are getting like zeroed, that have their bases relocated on them, they would still be spawning in the areas that would have been their starting locations. So like rune players would still be starting or spawning, sorry, in like these areas, even though they're controlled by Rohan right now. So they're not out of it by any means, in the sense that if they could come together, if they had the player numbers, it would be possible to retake their capital and retake land and get back on the map. It's just that by the time, you know, a faction does lose all of their land, they're usually so demoralized that they don't have enough of they don't have enough of an active player base to make a comeback. But it wouldn't be impossible. Like I said, they could retake capitals, they could retake keeps, and start regaining land. Yep, that is a good attitude to have, unknown user. There have been times where I've basically relegated myself to guerrilla tactics, where it's just trying to find, you know, figure out, okay, my enemy or the strong enemy right now has all of their forces in one area of the map. So I'm going to move over to this area of the map and steal this keep from them, to force them to maybe move all the way over to this side, and then move all the way over and steal a keep from them on the other side of the map, and then start making them bounce back and forth to do anything. And, you know, even if all you can do is be a little annoyance for a while and maybe take one keep at a time, sometimes that buys you, you know, a region or two. Things like that can really do a lot to kind of reinvigorate a faction if you do have active players, but they're just kind of, they don't have motivation. You know, if one person goes and takes a low level keep, then it can kind of light a fire under people's asses and be like, okay, let's come together and do this. So yeah, if you've got that never say die attitude, you'll probably do well in this game. Yep. Diplomacy is massive in this game. Having constant and open lines of communication with leadership in other factions, even opposing factions, is something I always try and do if I'm in a leadership role myself. I'll try and figure out who the, like, what the strong fellowships and warbands are in each faction, and try and figure out who the leaders or who the officers are in those fellowships and warbands. And then I'll try and, you know, I'll send them friend requests and at least start some kind of open dialogue with them. Even just saying, hey, how's it going? You know, just to have that communication. And then, like I said, sometimes you got to remember that the enemy of my enemy is my friend. That's also why on the Be Right Back screen, the quote of the day, I've been meaning to address this and I haven't, but the quote of the day lately has been from The Art of War by Sun Tzu. He was an old Chinese general or advisor. Really, dude, you think you're actually going to, like, stop me? This is going to be funny. And yeah, some people think it's silly when I say this, but especially when I'm in a leadership role for like a fellowship or a warband, I pull a lot from The Art of War because it is such an accurate and good book in terms of strategy for military tactics. You can use it for business. You can use it for life. It's my book recommendation for the night. I guess I'll add that. Maybe we'll start a little book club here. But if there's another book that anyone's looking to pick up and read, check out The Art of War by Sun Tzu. I'll admit it's an odd one to read because it's basically all written in like Chinese proverbs. But it's all useful information. And so, you know, little things like I said, like guerrilla tactics, trying to confuse people or just throw them off in any little way, unnerve them. can turn the tide of battle sometimes. Yeah, did this guy actually... Ah! A for effort there, buddy. A for effort. My Theoden's better. Yep. Mine's just a little bit better. Ah, Rainbow Pit. Somebody else who has read The Art of War. Except the parts about fire. Those are pretty specific. Yes. I mean, yeah. But yeah, exactly. Like, you know, if you, depending on how you interpret what you read, you can use just about anything found in the book in some aspect of life. It's a great book. Hey, look at that. We soloed the crossing 2 nights in a row. I decided to leave for now. I'll rejoin in season 2 likely. I mean, I've been thinking of doing the same thing, so I don't blame them. I really, really don't. I'm really tempted to try and take this 300. Should I try and take the 300, guys? I want to put that I want to put that to chat. If everybody wants to see me attempt this 300, I'll throw everything I got at this 300. What do we got? We got a Theoden, an Aragorn, a Galadriel, an Éowyn, a Haldir, a Legolas, an Aragorn, a Boromir. I'm pretty sure they could take a 300. Sorry, I just know that people our age don't read. Hey man, that is beautiful self-awareness. Haha, I really enjoy the fact that you actually read. We'll have more book questions in the future. Yeah, no, I totally get it, man. Like, oh, it's so sad when people just, I don't know. They don't appreciate books, some people. Books are great. Yeah, steal that 300. All right. Looks like we're going after a 300, people. Here we go. Let's get our do I need yeah, let's get our reinforcements just in case. But I mean, somebody may throw an attack at me and may throw the reinforcements off, but we'll try it anyway. They'll be fast reinforcements. So. But there we go. That'll get us back on track for finishing off streams with a 200 plus tile. Does this work? Can I see no Theoden? That seems OP for 1,000. Oh God. Oh God, no. You're not gonna ban my Theoden, are you? Oh, that would kill me so bad right now. That would probably completely screw me taking this 300. I've given chat too much power. Maybe I can get it in before he actually bans. Does it say okay, no Galadriel? Alrighty. I can do no Galadriel. Alright, so it'll be everyone but Galadriel. Is Boromir making his way to the crossing? That means I think everyone's got their reinforcements then. Oh, Aragorn's making his slow ass way back. Alright, you get back there then. Alright, now we can send. Here we go. You should up that amount. I'm willing to give you Galadriel if you don't get Theoden. No, I would much rather throw the Theoden at this fight than the Galadriel. Charge! Hey, Rainbow Pit, thank you very much for that follow. Yeah, these low-level guys, they're gonna die horrible, horrible deaths. But hey, they're doing their part. Give them a participation medal. No, it's well, actually, yeah, I guess it would be Cody because yeah, my Theoden has a speed on his own of 336, so that's increasing my army's march speed by 16.8%. All of his gear is increasing speed of some sort, so this is giving my army mounted units an extra 16 speed. That's commander speed. There's another 5 army speed. And because he's using all mounted units, you know, the marshals have 178 speed now, 160 for the calves, and 148 for the bow knights. So I get very fast march speeds, I think is what the little tag says when I march with Theoden. Alright, so he's actually going to get recalled, because this is another tactic for anyone that still maybe hasn't caught on to doing this yet. I've got 13 minutes before these defenders recover. Rather than waiting out 4 of those minutes for Theoden to fight again with a subpar army, I'm just going to pull him off the tile and reinforce him so that he can hit again with a full army. To do that most effectively, you want to make sure that you've taken the tile, at least one tile, adjacent to your target tile, like I did here. Because I had Theoden sitting here next to it, I was able to just send the reinforcements and know that, you know, I'm not wasting time waiting out marches to get him back to the fort, back to the tile, waiting for the reinforcements. It all happens kind of quick. So, and like I said, now I can just take Theo in again, and this will probably win me the tile. And he's even going to beat Haldir. Hey! Look at that. Victory! And so yeah, for anyone interested in like what kind of units and what kind of battle you might come up against on a 300 tile still, the initial Theoden ran into 4,500 Iron Warriors on a Legolas. That's brutal. As you can see, almost 400,000 HP. The only reason he survived is because he's Theoden and he's an absolute monster. But yeah, like they did almost 100,000 damage and soaked 271,000. So they're no easy unit to come up against. As you can see, like that 1,300 of them damn near creamed Legolas. And then coming up against 4,500 Sentinels with 2,250 March Wardens. Boromir just said no thank you to that one. Elyon did extremely well for a level 37, but again, that's because she's Elyon and she's pretty beastly. King Aragorn also did pretty well. He's got some pretty decent healing that he can offer, so he's able to come into fights like this. And right here, this is an example of why, you know, I don't understand why people hate on the Dunedains the way they do. This is exactly what Dunedains are for. They came in and they took out like 2,300 Sentinels and helped take out a bunch of March Wardens. Can I see their damage output? Yeah, they actually did the most damage. Yeah, it makes sense that they beat out these guys. There was no horses. But the Dunedains actually did more damage than the sharpshooters. And they've got a damage increase for the first 2 rounds. But then, of course, Theoden came in and just finished the job. Said, screw you guys. We're done with this. Well, thank you very much, unknown user. I am also glad that you gave me back Theoden. Like I said, I really don't think I would have been able to do that without him. You know what? I don't like this guy. I'm just going to say fuck you and all your goddamn friends. I'll use Galadriel to take this guy out. AP gains. The change that I want stopped is this proposed change that the devs are talking about to allow the good and evil factions basically to mix regardless of faction choice made by the player. So if you choose, because like right now, say I'm playing the good faction here, I have all these commanders unlocked. What they're saying is that if I choose evil next season, I'm still going to have all of these commanders available to use as an evil player. Oh my god, what? Unknown user? 4 ads in a row? Okay, I gotta figure out what the hell's going on for that before Wednesday. Because that's just ridiculous. Holy crap. 4 in a row? But yeah, AP gains, they're trying to make it so that good and evil units can basically be used all by the same faction regardless. And there's many of us that don't think that's going to be a beneficial change. Think it's going to do a lot more harm than good. But as we've been discussing it, you know, that's the initial kind of knee-jerk reaction that people have had. As we've been discussing it, it's kind of come to light that the more honest opinion is that the changes themselves aren't necessarily all bad, but they're being implemented too soon. There are other more important balance issues that need to be worked out first. And that, you know, if they really want to try something like this, they could do it on a test server. Ah, crap. I'm sorry about that, AP gains. Yeah, I got to adjust the ads. This is my very first stream as an affiliate, AP gains, so the ad thing is all new to me. I'm going to have some adjustments made for Wednesday. The change that I want to see made, anyway, is they're going to have good and evil commanders and units be usable by all factions regardless of faction choice. So me being a good player with all of these commanders right now, if I choose evil next season, I would still be able to use all of these commanders to lead my evil troops, apparently. Yeah, okay, and that's kind of the reaction most of us had when we first read it, was just, yep, okay, you're right on board with just about everybody else that read it. As I was saying, though, during apparently the ad break, was that as we've been discussing it more and more, what's kind of come to light is that, people don't necessarily think the idea is terrible in and of itself. They just think it's being implemented too fast. There are other more important balance issues that need to be worked out first. They could do this, or they could try this on a test server first if they really wanted. There are so many other ways they could address the balance issues. KingDead had a great idea earlier when he was on about being able to ally with another, like an enemy faction. And at that point, you could maybe recruit troops from that faction as kind of like special units. But just having this blanket change be thrown across the game, not many of us are in support of that. So I've been doing my part to try and get more eyeballs on the displeasure. And yeah, that's kind of what, like I said, that's what the stream tonight was all about. Last night we had another one just talking about the stuff too. So you can send more than 30 armies. Yeah, you can send as many armies as you have equipped, I guess. There's no limit on the commander number you can send at a place, as long as you've got the stamina and the troops and all that other stuff to do it. We're gonna get Elyon loaded up. I always like kicking the shit out of people with a level 37 Elyon. That's just kind of funny. And here, you know what? We'll do this. This will be funny too. We'll send the level 23 Aragorn in first, while we're reinforcing the level 40 Aragorn. And then we'll send the level 40 Aragorn in. The unknown user. Okay, so could you give me a detailed explanation to what you just did in this PvP battle? Why were you able to take this solo? Why is no one responding? It feels like you just single-handedly won versus 30 players, but I'm very new. That is what I'm asking. Very good point. I should probably clear up a little bit what I'm doing. So, initially what I did was I just took this crossing, which is one of the special structures. There was a single enemy defender on here that I took out. It was just a level 30 Aragorn, I think. Then I had to take out the 2 natural defenders that were on here. They were just level 17s, so they were nothing. And then I finished off the few 100,000 siege damage that needed to be done to take the crossing. So most of that fight was actually done against AI. And then when I took this tile, there was no enemy commanders here. So that was all against AI. This one, because there's that little flag, the little red icon with the flag there, and this icon, that tells me there's an actual commander sitting there to do battle with. And so if I check out the report here, we can actually see that, yes, he's sent a level 50 Arwen that's going to get his ass absolutely handed to him by Theoden. Guess what we need to go and do? Although I don't like to, because of the boycott thing, I don't even really want to spend gems, even if I already have them, but I would love to buy a stamina potion to send Theo in to just kill that Arwen hilariously. But yeah, it does look like I've charged into a ton of players, but most of these forts are actually empty. If you notice here, like this fort doesn't have any of these flags. It doesn't have any of these little red dots. So this one with a flag, you can see actually has a commander in it. Okay, and that little red dot is actually for the same one. But that's what tells you if a fort actually has commanders sitting in it or not, is whether there's that little red icon with a flag in it. You can click on it and see the commander portrait. And so like I said, most of these are actually empty right now. They're not responding because either they're tired, like they're sleeping, or they were afraid because a single player going after a crossing with that many forts on the other side is not generally done. It is an intimidating thing to look at. When they saw the 50 Theoden smash into them without an issue, that may have stopped some of them from responding. But as you can see, some of them are trying to respond. Yeah, there we go. We'll send big dude now. Not big dude, but bigger dude. I guess we could have just waited the 30 seconds for Theo, but he needs a reinforcement anyway. We got Elyon to hit somebody with, so that's cool. Yeah, unknown user. The forts are there just in case they either decide to attack and need everyone to get there, or if they did want to respond to an attack like this quickly, then they'd be able to just start doing what they are now and actually sending their commanders in. If they didn't have these forts here, then they would need to get a commander to the area, take a tile, and wait out the 2 hours for a fort to be built before they were able to effectively respond, especially if this laid outside the movement range of their previous fort, which is usually how people do it. I mean, with good and bad combined, it would be a lot. Can you explain what units counter what? So generally, AP gains, your spearmen are going to counter mounted units. Infantry are going to counter ranged. Ranged are just your DPS units. So as long as you can keep them alive, they can deal good damage to either ranged or melee. Mounted units kind of counter, they counter melee as well. It's more about the abilities that a lot of the troops have, because there are certain troops like Dunedains that specifically say they prioritize ranged units. And so something like this, you know, that is a hard counter to ranged units. Not only do they deal extra damage to them and prioritize them, they take less damage from ranged units themselves. So again, Dunedains are a hard counter to ranged units, but they suck against mounted units. Whereas your Guard of the Tower, they're the exact opposite. They do extra damage against mounted units, but they don't prioritize them. But they don't have any bonuses against ranged units. Reese Gerst, hey, unknown user, thank you for that Twitch subscription, dude. I appreciate that, man. You rock. Biggest tip for a new player, Reese? Probably would... Okay, that almost feels a little too general. Like, is there anything in particular that you are struggling with to figure out in terms of maybe how to expand your territory, how to level up commanders, how to focus on gear, troops. It would be easier to answer that question if it were narrowed down a little bit. But I guess if I were to try and think of like a general ring build or how to take down 200 plus tiles. All right, while I am talking about the ring build, if you want to let me know whether you're playing good or evil, I can then talk about 200 plus tiles. So the ring build that I go with, and this is something I was talking with multiple people at the beginning of the game to try and figure out, you know, what was the best. And a lot of people were agreeing that taking the control skill is definitely worth it to max, because it gives you the 10 extra ability points. It raises the limit to 30 instead of 20. And because you refresh your ability points over a 24-hour period, then regaining 30 over 24 hours is a little bit quicker than regaining 20 over 24 hours. So you actually regain your ability points a little bit faster if you max this out than if you don't. Once that's maxed, I do think it's kind of important to get this one maxed out as well. I usually do that immediately just because it takes you a while to unlock the upper tree here anyway, so might as well invest the early points here. But as soon as control is done, I do move down to abundant power, experience. I just put 1 point into abundant power to unlock experience. I max out the experience tree to get the 5% extra experience gain from all sources. I then reduce the stamina cost of my mock battles down to 10. I reduce the grain cost on my mock battles by 10. And then I increase the experience gain on all my mock battles by 10%. So at this point, once you've got that maxed, you're getting 15 extra experience from your mock battles, and it costs less, both in terms of grain and stamina, to do your mock battles. You can now do 15 mock battles at a time instead of 10 or 12. And then once you then you max out stamina to be able to do the 15 mock battles, because you need the 150 stamina. Doing that gives you a very, very efficient mock battle tree. I can get close to 1 million XP for a commander every 2.5 hours. Once I've got those maxed out, as you can see here, I did come over, I put 1 point into commander speed, so I was able to come down and max out my abundant force to reduce the conscription time. I then came back and maxed out commander speed, physical damage, focus damage, quick order for the reposition speed, and now I'm adding points into fort limit. I'm going to start increasing my fort durability. And then, yeah, I'll probably start throwing points down here just because. But this top tree up here, as you may have noticed, I completely ignore, because these are not worth it in my opinion. At least not until you have like crazy amounts of extra points that you're not doing anything else with. All right, you're on the good faction, Reese. So for taking 200 plus tiles, what you're going to want to remember is that you're pretty much always guaranteed to fight trolls of some sort. At least one of the two commanders you fight is going to have trolls. And so you'll want to prepare, Bonites, Master Throwers, things like that to deal with them. The other commander you're going to face is probably going to be a Maltok with... oh, wow, they threw a 50 Gandalf the Grey on there now, too. Okay. Cool. We'll go at you with the Theoden, buddy. This will be a good fight. I'm excited for this one. You loaded up yet? Nope, 15 seconds. All right. So yeah, the other commander that you'll face other than trolls is going to be generally something like a Maltok with mounted units. Hey, Alex, is this you? Alex Morton? This isn't you that I'm fighting, is it? Yeah, Michael L., you tuned in at a good time. Oh, nice. Okay. Well, there we go, Alex. This will be a good fight, actually. Yeah, I'm quite interested to see how my Theo fares against your Gandalf here. Ooh. He did pretty well. He did pretty well. GG's though, man. Who you got coming in here? I've not really come up with a good counter to Theoden yet. He is OP. Yeah, man. I'll just admit that right off the bat. Like, there's not a lot you can do to counter Theoden, especially at Respect 5. Yes, unknown user. YouTube is AjMcGamer, just the same. I try and keep it simple and consistent for reasons like that. But yeah, here you go, Alex. If this gives you a little bit of insight into why Theoden is maybe giving you guys issues, if it helps you, if it helps your friends. Like at Respect 5, he gives his all of his mounted units attack and HP. He's got a heal that goes off each round. Yeah, this is what took out your archers right here, was flanking. I made sure to get that maxed because it prioritizes ranged units. So 480% physical damage. Yeah, there's the chance to deal additional damage. But then it's this one here that really does it too. A stacking damage buff. Modified by speed. It's just so hard to get the kind of sustain you need to go against that kind of damage output. You really need someone like Arwen with the crazy healing, or just a ton of stuns, madness, you know, weird combinations like that. The only other option is to try and fight fire with fire. But at that point, you know, you can't beat Theoden if you're trying to beat him with mounted units. So it's just a tough one, man. To be honest, even taking that big a chunk off, I think is pretty good. All right, so just before this gets a little too carried away on me, because I'm still trying to answer as much as I can before I take off here, but we've already gone almost a half an hour into overtime. So we'll take 5-6 more minutes here until 1:30 to answer some questions, clear some final stuff up, and then we will be calling this one a night. But in my opinion, what are the best commanders? Again, that kind of question is a little bit too broad to ask, but I can try and answer it. So for tier 1 commanders, on the good side, Eowyn, Haldir, Boromir, Faramir, Dwalin, those are probably the ones worth focusing on in terms of damage output, defensive capabilities for your troops, things like that. Those are probably the ones that'll do you the best. Rick, thank you very much for that subscription. In tier 2, you know, and this is where it also becomes faction dependent, because like for Rohan, Elyon is 100% the best tier 1 commander for Rohan. Tier 2, Theoden is hands down the best tier 2 commander. But for general commanders, Theoden, Gandalf the Grey, Aragorn, Arwen, Legolas, Gimli. Yeah. Even Éomer is actually really strong with mounted units. And then for tier 3 units, or for tier 3 commanders, Gandalf the White, Galadriel, Radagast, King Aragorn, Thranduil, Elrond. I mean, Gil-galad is good, but I've been hearing some weird stuff about him. I don't know if he's bugged. King of the Dead is good. He's just hard to use. He's got some weird stuff, like this one here about dealing minimum damage. You've really got to understand what units you're going up against to make use of this. If you go against something like March Wardens that have a really low damage variance, then you might get the shorter end of the stick with this ability. But there is things like this that make it so nobody can be healed. You know, and that makes battles really interesting, especially against people like Arwen, or just any main big healing commanders. And then at Respect 5, he gets this one here where undead units can't be affected by any skills cast during the battle preparation phase. So, you know, it's a really interesting set of abilities that this guy's got. He reduces might and focus on enemy commanders. He's got, what was it? This one's focus damage. Yeah, this one makes people cause minimum damage against 3 enemy targets. It's down here. He's got a stun here, a silence here, defense reduction. Yeah, like madness on this one. He's got really interesting things, but again, he's a little bit more, takes a bit more thinking to use properly, I find. Dane is really good for dwarves, but yeah, it is what it is. He's a dwarf commander, so dwarves like him. He's got great early might, and he does damage. And yeah, Michael L., if you're using March Wardens yourself, then using them with King of the Dead would be really good, because you could almost guarantee that they're going to deal a really good amount of damage. A friend got Undead King for free week 1. Now he just sends full undead armies. Nice. I didn't realize it would use my Google name. Yeah, no, I thought that might be you, unknown user. Alrighty, looks like we'll get to see. Oh, did he get a reinforcement in there? Yeah, but this is what I like to see. Look at that. A level 37 Éowyn pretty much held her own against a full-on Arwen. Was she a full-on Arwen? Not really, eh? Yeah, no, I'd taken out quite a bit. Okay. Well, that's alright. Alright, we're finishing this off now. We gotta get this stream wrapped up, so sorry there, Alex. I'm sending the rest of what I got. Whatever happens, whatever shall be, shall be. How long has your server been up? Since September 23rd, when the game launched. Have you set up donations on Twitch yet? I don't think so. At least not like through Twitch itself. I do have donations set up on AjMcGamer.live. That's also where I host the new merch store that actually just launched recently as well. I'll put the link there in chat like a pro. How does your map look, if I can ask? Yeah, you can ask. I'll show you that right here. It looks very, very green. Reese. It looks very, very green. Rohan has... Yeah, that's a very, very good reaction to seeing that. Yeah, Rohan has kind of run away a little bit. Was this a regular server? Yeah, this was a regular server. This is server 1. This is the server. There was no Linden on this server, Reese. There was no Linden or Arnor. Linden and Arnor were only on special servers. So in this one, we only had Mordor and Isengard playable by actual players. Rune and Angmar were both AI. And there was just nobody up here. Oh, we got somebody charging it at it. Whoa! Oh, man. Thank you so much for that donation there. You are quite welcome for all the help, unknown user. I am very glad I could be of assistance. Again, like, super appreciate the donation, man. That's amazing. Welcome to the, I don't know what to call it yet. I mean, you might as well I like the word family myself, you know. Welcome to the family. You seem to come in and just fit right in with the vibe that's generally going on here. So same to all the new, I say faces because that just is the way, you know, you generally say that term, but sure, let's stick with that, faces. It's good to see all the new faces joining the streams lately. Oh my god, for the first time we've got more Twitch viewers than we do YouTube viewers. That's awesome. Go Twitch, man. You guys are rocking it tonight. I wish we had AI in mine. Careful what you wish for there, Reese. AI can be a real pain in the ass, man. They can be so relentless. Just so friggin' relentless sometimes. It's not fun. Alright, well, these guys are going to get their asses kicked by whoever is sitting on that tile, I think. Yep. Yo, okay, he reinforced his Gandalf. Alright, Alex, I'm done. I'm ending the stream anyway. I'll pull everybody back. You can tell your friends to stop freaking out. Twitch chat rules. Twitch chat does it, like, it is. Twitch chat just looks more fun. Like YouTube hasn't got caught up with like making the experience feel more fun, it seems. Twitch definitely seems to have that on lock. So Oh, thank God, so am I. It's been a good fight there, Alex. That Gandalf is good, man. And your Arwen. Yeah, and that's a great point there, unknown user. Any chat can be toxic. At that point, it's all about the people that run and host the chat, in my opinion. Yeah, same to you, Alex. I know this wasn't like an official PvP thing, but I'm not doing this to like rush you guys, and I was just bored looking for something to do with my units and figured that would be an interesting thing to do on stream. So, and hey, I got a 300 out of it. If I still own that in the morning, awesome. If not, whatever. It's a closer mocking tile than my other one. So, but yeah, I'm glad that you jumped on and made some defense. It was good to actually show some battles, have some fun with it. Had like no reinforcements left. Yeah, my Theo is stammed out anyway, and I don't want to buy a stamina potion for him, so he's the only one that really could have given you any run for your money anymore. I'd just be throwing everybody else to the wolves. This is now my chat, and I'm going to make sure it's not toxic. Hey, Michael L, man, if you want to, volunteer your time while you're in chat as like as a mod, man, I guess I'm looking for Twitch mods now. I can't keep it all going myself, but yeah, you can be a mod and drop that ban hammer. Oh, see, now you've challenged unknown user to yeah, see, that's exact. I could tell. Just you had that tone to it, user, that it was like, yeah, that's a challenge accepted type tone. Oh man, all right, I gotta get this ended before it gets carried away, because to be honest, guys, sometimes I could just keep it going. I mean, my very first stream was 12 hours because I just was having too much fun with it and couldn't bring myself to end it. So I'm trying to keep more self-control with it. Yeah, I did a 12-hour stream as my very first stream. So that was fun. It was good. Spent a lot of time in world chat laughing at all the drama, and yeah, it was cool. I think mine was like 5, and I never thought that was possible. It's amazing how fast time can fly when you're having fun, though. It really is great fun, though. Yeah, it really is. Like, thank you all for joining, taking some time out of your day or night to be here. I hope it's been informative, entertaining, engaging. I hope you guys enjoyed the interviews with Elyon and KingDead. As I've said, those interview sections, they are open interviews to anyone that wants to come on and chat with me for half an hour or so. If you're interested in trying to book an interview slot, just get a hold of me on Discord, AjMcGamer, #6068. I do them Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays around 11:15 p.m. Eastern time. So if that works and you want to jump on and say hi to stream, have a chat with me for a while, we can get you booked in. I try and get 3 guests a week. Priority will be given to patrons if demand gets high enough. Let's make sure Twitch beats YouTube next stream. Alrighty. We got challenges now. Now I'm going to have to put it out there on the channel that, like, YouTube audience, we got the Twitch audience challenging you, and last night they were rocking it. So we'll see how it goes. You can be the leader of the Twitch army there, unknown user. But also, just as the final thing tonight, as I always do now, thank you very much to Lady C, KingDead, Cody Ragan, and William Connor, my patrons. Couldn't do it without you guys. Appreciate the support immensely. And I appreciate the support from each and every one of you helping me hit stuff like the affiliate milestone and just making it a great experience. So until next time, good luck on whatever battles, blah, 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 blah. Now I can't even sign off properly. Good luck on whatever battlefield you find yourself on. Got through it. We're going to hit that lovely transition for the final time tonight. Peace out, everybody.